The nation is under siege. The nation is under siege.
Good evening, everybody. This is Divided We Stand on election night. And lots going on because we are transmitting from New Orleans tonight. And we'll be seeing our co-host in a second. He just popped in the green room. He's talking, and I can't hear a word he's saying, but we'll get to him in a second. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, this is Divided We Stand on YouTube and on Facebook. If you're unfamiliar with the page, on Facebook, just look in the search engine for Divided We Stand, and you'll see a cover picture of Kamala Harris. We ask that you become a member. This is not a monetized channel, nor is it a monetized Facebook group page. We just want you to be on the team, commiserate with us, and join us in the discussion. If you're unfamiliar with our YouTube channel, it is Divided We Stand. There are quite a few Divided We Stand channels out there, so you have to kind of look for us. Once you find us, please subscribe. Again, we're not monetized. We're not looking for anything. So in any case, this is a very nervous night. Let's go to our David Price from, I believe, a bar in New Orleans. I think he was thrown out of the last one. Let me see. Dave!
Am I there? Am I there? Here I am.
All right. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Let me put my glasses on so a little bit. Okay, so we're very fortunate, Brian, tonight. We're going to have a little different show for people. I've roped about...
Oh, no, please don't. Don't do that.
All right, are you done?
Okay.
No, actually, we're going to have more conservatives on this show tonight than you've ever seen.
All right.
I was able to rope about 4 people into agreeing, some males, some females, who are going to join us. And we're going to talk some politics. And we're going to hear some different points of view. And so we've been down here, 2 days now. And of course, New Orleans is the most unique city, or one of the most unique cities in America. But it's still in Louisiana, which of course is southern and relatively conservative. Although talked a lot. And what you find, and maybe some of our listeners will not agree, or viewers, or whatever the heck they are tonight. But what you find is it's interesting to hear others' opinions, and we really don't get it. Brian, I mean, I think you would agree with this. We really don't get, we all live in these little bubbles now, right? And we don't. So let's see if we can get him in here. We got us both, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to do the questioning because I don't trust you to question. So you work the damn machines, all right? Can you do that? You can't hear me.
I can hear you. You're too loud.
You know what?
Okay.
No. When you do that, I know that you mess up every week. So, like, I apologize. I'm going
to... I want to make sure we know who the guest is. He's not your parole officer, I hope.
He is not my parole officer, no.
Okay.
I have not been arrested down here yet. Okay. As a gentleman I was just talking to from Austin, Texas said, he's flying out tomorrow. He hasn't been arrested either. But he said, but we haven't left yet. So there's still hope. All right, so I'm going to let the first guest tonight introduce himself, and I'll ask him some questions. And we've been having a little bit of a pre-discussion. Sure. And we'll see where it goes. And people can feed questions, you know, as always, to you and to me or whatever.
Right. Let me make sure I have the comment section up.
So when I turn the camera, of course, I can't see it all. So let me know if I need to reposition, okay?
Right.
You ready?
All
right. So we have just met.
Yes.
And it's been just a very few minutes, and you've graciously agreed to come on, and we're going to talk a little politics tonight.
Sure.
And so, if you give your name and where you're from and anything you want to say, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So, my name is John LaPaglia, and I'm from Central Texas, just north of Austin, in a small town. It used to be a small town. And yes, I am a bit opinionated. And-
His wife said, you're not really going to talk like you normally do. And John said, yes. And I said, that's what we want, right? I mean, we're looking for opinions.
Absolutely.
They don't have to agree with ours or anyone else's. I mean, there's times when you're wrong, and I point that out. And there's times when you're wrong, and I point that out. So nothing new from this show.
Okay.
But I'm not going to point out where John's wrong, because John is not necessarily wrong. It's John's opinion. Here we go. So, John, let's
Right.
just talk
And
tonight.
it is my opinion, and if anybody gets triggered, then they need to understand that people need to be able to discuss things and not take it personally. Because people's opinions are their opinions formed on their thoughts, their information, their research, and their understanding of what's going on around them.
Right.
Now, do you see, that's an intelligent reply, Brian. That's something you're not used to. Okay, and that's not something you deliver. But so viewers, you'll be surprised tonight to hear this. Now, John, my first question is, it's election night,
Sure.
and you and I are watching the results right now. But talk about the election as you see it, just overall, this period of which I think will go down in history, and you might agree, as one of the strangest elections, just due to the fact of, we have this and that and this thing,
Sure.
all that's happened. So it's not like any other election, or that we've ever had. So your thoughts just on the process leading up to tonight.
Really, it may not be like any other election, but all elections have had issues that we won't go into right now. But when you have somebody that's running with a record for 4 years that did a lot of things that were good, had to deal with a lot of things that were set against him, and then you have another person who's trying to say they can lead the country, and they haven't led anything. They haven't run a business. They haven't done anything. What they say now in the campaign is different than what they've said through their whole career. And so she dropped out of the primary 4 years ago because nobody voted for her. She got selected, whether you say it or not, she was selected to be vice president. And then even though the president now is too senile to face trial for what Trump was accused of and went to trial for, and he's not able to run for president, which is why she was appointed, he's still the president. So there's just some dichotomies there that don't make sense. But she hasn't run anything, she hasn't won anything, but she was appointed to that position. She doesn't answer any questions. Trump is out there with what he says. You can agree with it or not, but he's out there with specific things based on his history with what we want to do. When you ask her a question, like she was on CNN, I think it was, or Anderson Cooper, why, explain what's changed or why you're doing. Well, I haven't done it because that was before, and now I'm going to do it tomorrow. So we're talking about the things we didn't do yesterday because we're going to do them tomorrow. She didn't say it. She doesn't answer questions because she doesn't have, I'll be honest, she doesn't have the ability or the desire to express what she's really going to do and what she can do, because I don't think she's really in control of what she's going to do. It just doesn't make, where she is, this election, the advertising that's gone on for her don't make sense. And if you listen to what she did coming up through California, she ran as a senator unopposed. She got to be senator, and there's things that don't make sense. That does she even have the ability to make the decisions that the country would require her to make?
Okay. And what I would go with it on that, the question I would have, obviously, I think we can assume from those remarks that you would view yourself as a conservative. Is that correct?
I'm a conservative, yes.
Okay. Now, the conservative candidate, whether you agree with it or not, is Donald Trump being labeled as conservative because he's a Republican candidate. Obviously, nobody's going to listen to you or me or do this, but we all have candidates that we like. Is there anybody in the party, if it weren't Donald Trump, that you think would best speak for the conservatism that you espouse?
To be honest, no. If you look at all the previous candidates that we've run, typically what they'll do is they'll say stuff. They say, hey, I'm conservative, I'm going to do this. They get into office, they forget what they say. what they said they were going to do. And so, if you look at historically how things have gone, as the Democrats get into office, and basically, and I may get this backwards, Republicans want money to get power, or no, they want power to get money. The Democrats want want power to get money, and so neither party really does anything different once they get in. If you look at historically, they'll say things, but the Democrats are able to push, the progressives are able to push their agenda further. When Republicans, and to them, they're not conservative. Even though they say they're not, they get in. Nothing really back. They may slow it down, but they don't get back to what we really think we need. And so when you have the DOJ suing the state of Georgia for removing, the state of Virginia, because they want to remove illegal aliens, and that's what they are. They're illegal and they're not U.S. citizens from the polls, and the DOJ is saying, no, that's illegal. You can't do that. I think that was been settled. And then you have a judge in Georgia saying that the election board in Georgia said, okay, we want to make sure we count the ballots before they're scanned, because there were issues last year. 4 years ago. It's on camera. There are issues. So we want to count the ballots first, scan them, and then recount them to make sure that what's scanned matches what's counted. And a judge in Georgia, I may have been overruled by now, said, well, they haven't been trained, so they may not know how to count. That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And why, when only U.S. citizens should be able to vote, why is there so much pushing for mail-in ballots without verification of signatures, verification of dates? Why is that being pushed by the Democrats?
Interesting question, Brian. Can you respond to that?
I'm just listening for right now, Dave. I'll be making comments.
Just listening for right now. Okay. And I'm just asking.
I mean, I have questions to ask, but I just think I'll just, I listen.
Well, I think what's interesting, at least to me, is the fact that, as I explained to John, I'm extremely liberal, and he is self-admitted not a conservative. So we have, we're not supposed to be able to talk together, right? Is what people are saying now, but it can be done.
Sure.
But I think what's first of all, you have to listen, okay, and you don't have to interrupt. Now, John, I'm going to ask you, there are liberals who believe that every conservative would be screaming right now and jumping up and down. And we've been here a while now,
right,
and just having a very nice, good conversation. John's going to go over in a minute and hopefully bring. He is a friend of yours.
Oh, Dave?
Yeah. And he has a great first name, so we're going to bring Dave in a minute. And then we've got some females who Brian said that if you would not be on camera, that they would join us. But as long,
you see, he shouldn't have talked poorly about me there. You see what happened, folks?
I talk poorly about you every show. Why wouldn't?
Well, you had a frozen screen right there. The hand of God shut you up.
But you're behind. You can't handle a camera worth diddly. Okay. So, John, is there an issue right now that you think is the main issue? That's a hard question because we've got a number of issues. But is there something that you think, in order for America to survive, they should prioritize this first, and other things, whatever? Do you have an issue?
You won't like my answer. And yes, we should be able to talk. I may disagree with things that you agree with, but if you can support, the question is, you just can't take sound bites and say, well, I heard this on CNN or whatever. They're not being honest with everything, most things, if anything. But you should be able to support through research, or at least through information, how you made your opinion. Otherwise, you're just going along. So the big point is, how did you form your opinion? So yes, we should be able to talk without getting angry or anything.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now, I think that's a good point. We all kind of talk, or many of us talk about that. So where would you recommend, if a person is off base with not what you believe, but what you believe to be true? There's a difference. Mm-hmm. Okay, we all believe some things, but then we believe this to be true. Where would you suggest that they might go? And I know it would vary. Obviously, it would vary with the issue. But just say in general, if you had to say, hey, listen, Susan, I think you're a little bit off base here. Why don't you go and look at or do this? What would you suggest?
It would depend on the subject. There is so much information out there now that in the past, if you go back 30 years, there were 3 networks that controlled everybody's opinion because they're the ones that supplied the information, accurate or not. And we're finding out now that it was really not accurate. So there's so many different sources of information. And when you have, whether it's local stations on local news, whether you have national news, and when something happens, no matter what it is in the realm, whether it's, you want to say it's conservative or progressive, and progressive used to mean something good. It doesn't now. It's more socialist. But when it's something more progressive, and literally you can take videos of what they're saying, and you start off with a couple, you end up with a whole screen of, say, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 screens of the somebody, and doing that is a danger to democracy. She was not elected, or she was selected, and things like that. But when they're saying the exact same words, I mean, I'm not saying like, exact same words, there's something going on where they're being told what to say. So if they're being told what to say, you can't believe anything they say. If they lie about one thing, you can't trust anything. You have to make your own research. There's blogs out there now. There is, whether it's Substacks, whether it's YouTube, there's things like that that are out there. There's podcasts that you're doing. There's information. You can watch it, believe it or not. And whether you believe it or not, it's out there. Now, with AI, with things that have happened, you can't really know. And with green screens and everything else, you can't know that what you're seeing is real. Even though it looks really real, it looks right, it may not be. And if you go and there's TED Talks about what the CIA did before, they're doing stuff more aggressive now. There's guys that, there's a scientist, there's a lady that had been a manager on the CIA talking about bodysuits and what they did. They went to Hollywood to figure out what could they do so they could get agents in and things like that. There's, and so it's on TED Talk, if you believe TED Talks, it's there. There was a programmer on TED Talk that actually showed on screen while he was talking. He said, we can mimic anybody, make it look like they're doing it. So I think they had Bush, they had the Queen, they had a statue, they had Obama, they had a couple other people saying the exact same words, same facial movements, same facial expressions on the screen at the same time. So if all that is happening, how do you know anything you see is real?
Now, what I find so interesting myself, when I'm talking to John, and we come from politically opposite sides, if you will, that's a real concern. And we've discussed it a lot. What's Gary have to say? Okay. Anyway, what she said? Yeah, it's trying to think. I mean, if you forget the sides for a minute, just forget the sides. And this is what I find interesting. We both say the same things, even though we're coming from a different way, not necessarily, but agreeing. I mean, John just said AI is a danger, if I heard you correctly.
Right, but this stuff was going on even before AI. And
true, but we'll leave it. I mean, now just say that. Well, I'm not just. So what I'm saying is, again, there's a point of agreement now when you get who's doing what with what. Now, Brian, it's about time. Why don't you give us an election update? Because John and I have just been engrossed in each other's conversations here. What's going on? I'm in the
Okay,
law.
I'm going to increase the screen size, the overlay, so that everybody at home will be able to get a good idea of where we stand right now. Remember that even though some of the polls have closed, that certainly doesn't mean that they're going to call anything. So right now, Trump is ahead 154 to 53 in terms of the Electoral College. There's no change, as I've said before, or a few days ago, there's no change in where these states were supposed to go right now. There's no flipping of any states. The key now is what they call the blue wall. Will that materialize? And I think, again, we're just going to have to wait till the wee hours. It does look good in Pennsylvania because the Philadelphia turnout has been amazing. And he is ahead right now, and she is ahead right now. So again, it's still going to come down to the big states. And I don't mean in this in anything negative against John, but to give you some, this is not for John, it's for everybody, to give some idea where I'm coming from. You have to look at these states with the big populations. I mean, even I think most Republicans would agree that 70% of the GNP or the GDP of this country is in blue counties. So this is where most of the business is being done. This because that's where most of the populations are. And I think we have to wait for them, just like we see what happens with our GDP, so shall the vote. I think we're going to have to, again, wait till the wee hours to see what happens in Pennsylvania, what happens in Michigan, and in places like Virginia. I think that's where it's going to come down to. I don't even know if Georgia is going to matter, because right now Pennsylvania, Harris looks like Philadelphia is really coming through. So I think everything's going as it's suspected. He has the lead right now, but wait till California comes in and New York comes in. He's got Texas, but again, it's all going to come down to Michigan and Pennsylvania. That's where the population centers are, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
And
Good.
And one of the things I think, again, would you agree? Like I said, I'm not kind of removed from this now, but does it still appear at this point, too early to call? It's going to be close, though. I mean,
very close, yeah, absolutely, because all you need is a sway of 20,000 votes, and the state can go the other way.
And we've got the 7 swing states will be decided. And the question is, I think we all have to figure out is, no matter who wins, right? No matter who wins, there's going to be roughly half of the voting public is not going to have their person there. So
as it usually happens. Well,
as it certainly does happen.
Maybe not quite as close as this, but we've had close elections before.
Right. So I was going to ask Ron, and I thought a point, before I do that, one other quick thing. I thought a point that's interesting, because he and I share this, and you're never going to go back to it, but once upon a time, he mentioned the 3 major networks. You had ABC, CBS, and NBC. And Walter Cronkite was acknowledged to be the most trusted man in America.
Turned out he was progressive.
Yeah, well, we know that now. Yeah, I know. In fact, he was actually best friends with Mickey Hart of the Graceful Dead, but that's for another podcast. But the idea, whether it was, now we don't have that. Everybody's disputed. So, Ron, what I want to ask you is, we're going to have a divided America. I'm sorry. My bad, as they say. I just said Ron.
Yes, let's repeat that. His bad.
I'm thinking it's Ron DeSantis I've got in front of me. John, question becomes, we're still going to have a divided America. Mm-hmm. Would you agree? Do you have any solutions of how we go to get undivided?
You won't like my answer.
You keep saying it. I haven't argued
I know
with
you
you.
haven't. I know you
No,
haven't.
but go ahead.
People need to educate that when somebody is promising money to every single person that wants money, somebody's going to pay for that. So when the Fed prints money, that causes problems because we don't have a gold-backed dollar. And so the Fed prints money and loans it to the U.S. government, and then we pay interest back to the Fed. So the money is going to come from somewhere. We're already in a deficit. We're already now.
Well, I would have to. I hate to interrupt, but I have to, because I want to. Technically, the Federal Reserve does not print money. It's the Bureau of Engraving that prints money. The Fed can affect the money supply by the securities, but they don't actually print the money. That's up to the Bureau of Engraving. We don't even need to print money for the most part.
They're the ones that create the money. If you go back to the law in 1915 that was passed when the Fed was created. Well,
the banks create the money. They only do it through the discount rates, but the banks actually are the ones that create the money, and they also destroy the money too once the loans are paid off.
The banks print money, so...
Banks don't print the money. The banks create the money. You only need a certain amount of money to be printed just for transaction cash. The actual amount of demand deposits is a lot higher than what's actually in currency. So there's actually more currency in Europe than there is in the United States, more American currency. In fact, at one time there was more American currency in Moscow than there was in New York, because most people don't carry cash.
No, I understand that, and it's more of an electronic world, which is more scary as well.
Right, it's digital money.
Concerning as well. But do you agree that the Fed? Do you think the Fed is a government-related institution?
No, it has a dual function. Part of it is federal because it is appointed by the president, but on the other hand, they operate as a private institution, just like the FDIC is a corporation. So the Federal Reserve is technically both private and public.
But who owns the Fed?
Well, the Fed is governed by the Federal Reserve governors. It's not a question of owning it. It's just that they make the decisions about the discount rates,
So
and they.
how'd that change? How'd that change from the law in 1915? If you go back and read the law and how the
Well, it's
Fed,
actually 1913 that the Federal Reserve was
right,
created.
okay, good,
But
got that.
because I do know some of the people in the Federal Reserve because I've gone there for classes, but they serve an important role because a lot of people think erroneously that they do print money, but they not only that they supervise the banks, which they have to be supervised. Um,
And
they regulate the banks, but the banks are the ones that create money, and they create money through loans, and they destroy money
you know,
through the payment of
right,
loans.
fractional banking is what's created the debt slaves that we all are now. Now the thing is, so two large banks failed last year in California and New York,
Okay,
and there were some very large accounts in there that were above the $250,000
right,
insurance coverage of the FDIC.
right.
The Fed came out and said, "Okay, we're going to pay everybody, no matter if it's millions of dollars in those banks that happened. We're going to make them all good," which was against what the insurance
Right, and that's
policy
what
was.
Reagan did with the SNL. I mean, when
Not
Bush did with the
what I'm talking about.
SNLs,
Okay, let
and
me
I agree
finish.
with you.
And a bank in Oklahoma didn't really fail, but it went insolvent and was acquired by another company in Oklahoma about a month ago. And they came out and said, "We're going to cover the 250,000, but anything above that, we're only going to cover 50%." So the people in Oklahoma at that bank are not as important as the people on the coast. So again, there's problems in Washington from that standpoint. Um,
Well,
so anyway, I mean, we're bouncing around a lot. You asked a question. What's most important going forward
Yes.
is who are you as citizens? There's actually two. Who are you as citizens? And are we going to get our financial house in order, which means we stop printing money and we get to a gold, silver backed dollar. Without that, our debt is going to, we're the largest debt country in the world. And the only reason we haven't gone insolvent as a country is because right now the dollar is the reserve currency of the world. The problem is things are happening where that may change in the near future, and we've got an active debt, and I'm maybe rambling a little bit.
No.
We have an active debt of over, I'm not looking at anything I've looked at lately. I think it's over $30 trillion, but the unfunded deficit is approaching $100 trillion. Where's that money going to come from? We are robbing our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids and our great 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 grandkids if the country's even around financially at that point. And you have somebody that's running for office and people don't, oh, I'm getting free money. How is she going to reduce prices of houses? Is she going to put price controls in like Nixon to hold food prices down? When they got into office, they canceled the pipeline from Canada, which caused energy prices to go up, which reflected all through the economy now. And she was against fracking. Now she's for fracking, and she's now giving money to this group and money to this group. And the money's coming from somewhere. We're already in a deficit. Where's that money coming from? And if people don't pay attention to that, they're part of the problem because they're going to, the country's going bankrupt.
Now, here's the problem that I have with all this. Some reporters, oh, we got bounced off. I
Oh,
think.
sorry.
No, it's not you.
Sorry.
It's, I'll wait until he calls.
we're here, Dave. Everything's good.
Oh, you're good? Okay, I thought we got bounced off there. It looked
No.
like, okay. So I don't understand, Brian. There are reporters who get to go out and listen to people. Well, I am a reporter, I guess. But they go out and get to listen to people about eating cats and dogs, and I have to get a
Well,
conservative.
David, we're jumping ahead. Can we
No, wait,
talk
let me
about the debt
finish.
problem for a
I have
second?
to get a conservative who is making sense on
Well,
because
I
they're
still want to be able to
right.
discuss the
Why
debt
can't you have
situation. We haven't finished that discussion.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, why can't I get the crazies? Why do I have to get somebody who sounds relatively sane? Why? What is wrong with that?
Well, first of all,
You want to
let's
go back?
talk about we're talking about the debt problem. Can we talk about
Okay.
that?
Okay, we're going to go back, but first we're going to not going to take a break. We're going to walk over to the bar, John and I, and see if anybody wants to comment
Okay,
over there
sure.
while we're there. You with us?
I'm with you. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Come on, John. In fact, we're talking to something you and I are going to share together. All right. So, Brian, we're headed to the bar now, and I think we've got some people over there that we're going to put on camera if they're willing to. And we're going to start. Our bartender.
Hi.
Hold on a second. You there? Are you there?
I'm there.
All right. Why don't you put the camera on, since we're going to be looking and talking to people? Do I have to come do everything for you?
Yes.
See, she doesn't even know you, and she knows you already. Okay. So here we go. All right. So we have a bartendress here, and you know, and I know that there's nobody better as a political analyst in the United States than someone who has all kinds of people. And you can see there's a lot of people here in the background. So I'm going to ask you a question. First of all, introduce yourself. Of course, this is New Orleans, where politics shouldn't exist, right? I mean, in the sense
They
of...
shouldn't, but yeah, during the RNC and DNC, we had people down here watching it for both.
Okay. Now, my question to you is, do you have any strong political beliefs? One way, the other way, upside, downside, it doesn't matter.
I think we should go back and pull another Tea Party. That in our country, right where it was when we pulled this the first time. I mean, shouldn't we take our country back again?
Now, Brian, what she's talking about too is your inability to run a good show. That's no, got it.
Oh,
Dave, can we
No,
get
I
to
didn't-
get to the
Well,
issues here?
Gotcha. Coming on with me or no?
I mean, I'll be glad to have a discussion, but I mean, I don't want to keep going into personal attacks. Let's get to if we have a discussion on economics, we're going to talk about inflation rates. I'll be glad to discuss it.
Yeah, the inflation rates are absolutely astronomical. I mean,
In what way are they? When you say astronomical, what is astronomical to you as far as an inflation rate?
the way that things have gone up, the cost of everything is absolutely insane. I mean, a mortgage went up from $1,300 to $1,800, and they're still talking about making it go up more. Whenever I go buy a gallon of milk, it's not $3, it's $6. When I want to go on a flight or stay in a hotel somewhere, the cost is 6 times what it used to be. Working in the movie industry, I know during, 4 years ago, the cost of steel and lumber went up almost 150% in a week or two. It's insane. The cost of things and the way that the money is being spent and the responsibility is trickling down to the common person doesn't make sense.
Now, I'm not going to complain again about the assignment, but I keep getting these rational people. And why can't I go out and interview some of the crazies out there, Brian?
Right, but let's, if I can have a word edgewise, Dave. First of all, when we talk about inflation, we got to first of all understand inflation. Okay, Dave, if you're going to be serious, I'll talk. But if you're going to play bullshit, then maybe you can just talk in generalities with them, and then we don't get anywhere.
All right, let me say something, Brian. If I talk bullshit, right, which, I may, what do you talk?
Facts. So let's start with them. First of all, the inflation
so
rate
before
is
we go-
2.4%, okay?
If anyone disagrees with you, you have all
Okay,
the facts.
I understand that grocery prices are higher, but the inflation rate, in fact, is 2.4%. Okay, the Federal Reserve has kept that down. So the question is, why are the prices higher in the grocery stores?
Oh, we got a whole...
There's a reason why the prices are higher. It's because businesses are taking advantage of the consumer. They're raping the consumer.
Back on See, he's even willing.
And let me add this, because Dave, your son's an economist, and you should know this. You should know this, that you should have a slight bit of inflation anyway, because people tend to hoard money, and that slight inflation rates forces people to spend the money that they hoard. So inflation at a certain point is actually good if it is slight. And right now we have a slight inflation because too many people are holding on to large sums of money.
Okay. Would you agree that right now you would like to continue the discussion with...
Yeah, but I want to stay on a topic for a little bit. I don't want to keep jumping without having a discussion where we can have a two-way conversation.
Well, wait a minute. What about if I determined? What about if Bill? I keep calling the wrong name.
John, and it's
That's
Elizabeth.
okay.
Okay,
So,
those
uh,
I listened.
I know. Why don't we? He's already agreed to do a couple shows with us. Why don't we just
Well,
do
that's
one?
fine. That's fine. I mean, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate him coming on because it's a hell of a thing to have to go on a podcast where you have a bunch of liberals who have a
I
different
know.
opinion, and it's
No, I understand that.
respectable.
But what I always like in this, personally, you and I always like how your voice rises. I love that when it gets there.
So
Now, are you? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to play the everyman role. I think it's important what you guys were saying, and certainly it comes in there. But maybe, as I say, in a more targeted discussion, let's see what Gary has to say. Okay, do you see the comment?
Yes.
Is that what's happening? I mean, I don't know.
He said your end is breaking up.
All right. So if that's the way, why don't we cut it right here? So I'm not going to be able to get it any better. MSNBC's everybody's breaking up, and I'll get. We can continue this discussion later. Yes, no,
Okay,
it's up
it's
to you.
fine. It's fine.
I mean, if we're breaking up, I mean, it's up to you. You got control. I mean, if you want to keep trying.
Well, I don't want to frustrate the people. I think we did what we could do, and that's that. I mean, if it's going to keep breaking, the problem is that you're on a Wi-Fi network there, obviously, and it's
I know.
not strong
That's
enough
what
to
I'm
hold.
saying. I went down and tested it on Bourbon Street, and it was worse. So, it held in the room. It didn't hold here. So, yeah, I mean, there's no sense in doing something that we can't do.
Right.
So, I think the beginning of the show. All right.
At least we have it recorded, so it's
Yeah. All right. See what
Well,
you
it's
can
not
do
recorded, but it's on YouTube, so it's.
Yeah. Why are you so down now?
No, I'm not down. I have to wait for the results, and we're not going to know until I would say 3 a.m. who's won.
Oh, you're being optimistic if you think it's going to be then.
Well, you still
I'm
think
gonna-
Virginia is going to go for Harris, correct?
That's my feeling. Yes, but
well,
that's
it depends how long it takes them to come up with all the mail-in ballots that they need that they did
Right.
last time. Which is why at 3:00 in the morning, hundreds of thousands of ballots suddenly showed up that got counted in 4 years ago. And yes, that's not a conspiracy. I watched it on TV because I stayed up all night that night. So I did see that, and there's no logical sense. There's no mathematical sense that made sense. But and we'll go back a little bit. And I know I'm breaking up, and I've got a different subject.
no.
But if you take a look at just how things went, did not make sense. And then we had to deal with all the, I'll say, crap that went around the January 6th stuff. You can't have an armed insurrection with no arms. And so, and then when you have people opening the doors, and the only person that was actually killed was a person that was shot by a cop sticking his hand out of a door, shooting somebody that was no threat. And there's 2 cops behind her, and he shoots her. So that's one person that died that day. But then you have some American citizens that have been in jail now. Some are still in jail. They have not been charged yet. And some cases have been thrown out. There were several instigators by the FBI involved in the crowd, and that's been proven. And so, you can't talk about how we're going, we want that the DOJ, that the Department of Justice, FBI are not weaponized against people like me that don't just believe everything they try to say. And when you have the January 6th committee by Congress, and then you don't let the people, it was not a joint committee because the people that were on it were not Republicans. They were in name only. Won't go into their names. And then after their case, after they got decided that they destroyed all the evidence of all the interviews and everything else that they had. So why did they destroy it? Why was all that stuff done? There's just too many questions. And so as we go forward, we need to understand that there's too many crazy things that are happening that they think we're too stupid to see. And you just have to be aware, as I said before, aware of what's going on, and don't believe everything you see or hear, even though you see it with your eyes, because that may not be true.
what I would suggest, Brian, is if you're holding on your end, right, which apparently you are, and not on ours, if you caught any of that, why don't you? We'll sign off on this end, and you respond, and then we'll go from there. Does that make sense?
It's fine with me.
All
There have
right.
been
So
videos with people who have had weapons, and there were people. If you don't have a gun, you certainly can have bear spray, and you can have. Look, Dave, if you're going to be serious about this tonight, and just raise your eyebrows every time I say them, I'm telling you facts. Okay, there were some armed
Brian,
people.
grow up.
I am. I'm
Grow.
trying to tell you, there were armed people, and they use them. Whether you're going to use a hockey stick or a flag, you can still kill somebody. You had 5 policemen who are dead right now because of that
What I
event.
what I would suggest.
There were people shitting on the walls.
All right. What I would suggest. This is degenerated. Okay. And that wasn't the purpose. The purpose that I wanted to say was to have somebody who has a very different opinion, right, be able to, and it doesn't sound like it, he is, okay, from Gary's comment. There's no question. I'm sitting right here. So at this point, I think it's best that you continue the show and take our end out and clear up anything that you
Right.
think
I'll
was
do that.
said.
I'll do that.
Sounds good. All right, man.
Okay.
Kill on our end, Brian. Talk to
All
you
right.
later.
Okay. So let me get to the point. First of all, everything that guy said is typical of the Republican Party, and how the propaganda has gone through the goo up there, and that was a great example. And unfortunately, I guess Dave was intimidated, and he let that person off the hook, and waited for me to do it, and then he tried to defend the other guy. It seemed, I don't know, that's what you got from that, but I don't think I have to tell any of you out there what just went on, but for the sake of trying to clarify some things, you saw how those people there talked about the economy, how they talked. First of all, when John talked about Trump, he does what he says he's going to do, and the other was give it lip service. He talked about the power and the money. Power buys money, and money buys. We've talked about that with Russia, where power gets you money, and here money gets you power. We've done that kind of thing before, so it sounds like he's grabbing something from that type of idea, which is just kind of like a Russian idea. The whole point about the Federal Reserve printing money is complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. And I'm actually surprised Dave didn't say anything, because his son is an economist, and having discussions with your son, you should know goddamn well the Federal Reserve doesn't print any goddamn money. Nothing. Okay? It's the Bureau of Engraving, and they only print enough money so they can have transaction cash. So you're talking maybe 3% of the demand deposits, and most of the cash is overseas. So part of what he said was true, in the sense that there's petrodollars, and a lot of countries have to pay in dollars. Let me see what's going on here. I'm going to check my connection here and see. I'm going to do a speed test. Now, my speed test is good. It's not the best, but it's actually pretty good, the speed test. So I'll continue, okay? The other thing was about inflation. You notice that they talked about the woman behind the bar, the bartender, that was Elizabeth. She talked about the prices of wood going up 150%. So these were exorbitant numbers. There's not 150% inflation. There's 2.4% inflation. And you have to have inflation. And I don't know how else to explain it. There has to be enough inflation where the dollar starts degrading in value unless you spend it. And the reason why the Federal Reserve doesn't set inflation at zero, they try to have it around 2% or 3% so that people will actually spend here. Okay? So there's a logic to having inflation. And there's also logic to using debt to further the economy. For example, in World War II, we went in incredible debt, but there was a low inflation rate, pretty much like it was here, so you can invest in things that later would pay off. For example, World War II, it certainly paid off for us. So there's no problem with debt. They can continually do that. It has always worked. If you think about it, we haven't had a total collapse of the system. This collapse comes from if you had all of the banks, like John mentioned 2 banks. Some banks go down, But what happens when a bank goes down? Another bank will pick up the deposits. It's not a big deal. What is a big deal is when you have something like the savings and loans, when they aren't FDIC backed at the time, when they were bailed out. And they were bailed out because they were afraid too many people were going to lose it. The very people who were conservatives wanted to be bailed out in the S&L situation. So this is where you get the Republicans love socialism when it works for themselves, which is why I brought up that point, because he's talking about the economy. And when I brought up that the blue counties across the country generate 70% of our GDP, 70%. So in a certain sense, what's driving the economy are the blue states. The blue states are driving the economy of this country. So everything you heard was complete bullshit. It was complete bullshit. Now, that's how they think. Okay? That's exactly how they think. And you'll notice the reaction when I confronted them. When I said what specifically, although she did mention some things, but what she said wasn't even a reality. She says, well, lumber's up 150%, and you can't, everything's too expensive. Well, yeah, well, groceries are too expensive. But when you look at the issue, which Kamala Harris is addressing, the real issue is that we're getting raped by the corporations, big brother business, not big brother government. It's big brother business. They're the ones that are ripping us off. They're the ones that are taking the extra cut. They're just blaming the wrong side of the aisle because they're going to worship the corporate world. And a clear indication of their worshiping of the corporate world is worshiping Donald Trump, who is essentially a used building salesman. An unsuccessful one at that, too. So everything you heard, whether it's from John or from Elizabeth, every single thing that they threw out there, okay, was complete bullshit. Even the idea that Trump says he's going to do, he does what he says he's going to do. No, what he does is he lies all the time. And the things he does do, the basic things, he'll stack the Supreme Court for you. He'll help the evangelicals. He's going to help the rich. Yes, he said he was going to cut taxes, but for whom? He cut it for the rich. He alluded to the economy was going really, really well when Trump was in office, which is, again, there's no basis in fact. Okay, so already right from the start, as soon as he began, there were problems when he mentioned the Federal Reserve, because this is a misconception that a lot of people have. People think, because of Republican propaganda, that the Federal Reserve keeps printing money. I don't know how to say this again and again so people understand. The Federal Reserve does not print fucking money. Okay? They deal with discount rates with banks that lend money to each other. And through that, the interest rates change. They don't even change the interest rate itself. It's the fact that they're selling and buying and selling securities, stocks and bonds, that will affect the inflation rate. So in other words, they can make it harder on the banks, they make it easier on the banks. But the ones who create the money has nothing to do with the government. It's from the banks. And then you could add in the credit cards if they're not paid back. I mean, that's generating money too, and interest. Because if you don't, I hope you can all hear me. Gary, I would refresh your browser and see if that works. You got to use a different browser, because I think that other people are picking this up. Okay. Right. So what got me upset with Dave is he started, going into his shtick with my personal this and that, but he's not challenged the man. It's, if he said, it's nice to be able to listen and speak with conservatives. That's fine, but you've got to be able to say something too. He said he was going to ask the questions, and he didn't. Then he asked me to do it, and I said I was going to listen, and then I did confront them on it, and they got nervous. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Dave, and I'm sorry to John. I'm sorry to Elizabeth. If you're going to say something, I'm going to challenge you on it, just like you challenge us. Whether Trump wins or not tonight, you get challenged. And if I'm wrong, if you believe that the Federal Reserve prints money, fine. So, Anyway, if anybody out there, I think we have 10 people out there right now. If you can hear me properly, I'm looking at my download and upload rates, and it appears to be pretty good. Okay, and we're only on 2 platforms right now, so yeah. And my upload speed is good. I'm at over a gig almost. Yeah, it's pretty strong, the connection. All right, so I'm going to wait for a reply. We're now at 9:58, and it's Chris Clear here. Thank, might be your Wi-Fi. There you go. Thank you, Veg, and I appreciate that. Am I the only one who thinks this way? I mean, did everybody turn to a conservative? You know, I don't know. You know, I really don't know. Yeah, let's go check the screen here. I want to see what's happening here with the. Let me see here with the. Let's go to CNN. Okay, and so you can look in real time as I'm looking at these, because again, I'm not really worried about anything until we see what happens in Pennsylvania and Michigan. So New York has gone for Kamala Harris. Illinois has gone for Kamala. So again, it's pretty much where we expected, folks. So I would not be worried. This is not quite like 16. Okay, this is not like 16. So I think we have to keep an eye on this. Okay. But as they say, early wins are no bellwether. That's kind of what I'm saying. You just because it went for Texas doesn't mean that she's going to lose. No, it's coming down to 7 states. Okay, it's kind of like let's have a sports analogy with hockey. You've got 7 games, and we're coming down to the 7th game, but we're in the first period. You can't judge it now. If it started looking like they were all going the way of Florida, then I would be concerned. But right now, and I think it will be, I told you, be somewhere between 270 and 290 or 300. I don't think she's going to get what Biden did. But I think if she wins Michigan and she wins Pennsylvania, we'll be fine. I'm hoping Dave will come back because, I'm sure he's pissed off, but, I'm sorry, folks. Those people were bullshit. I mean, it's okay that, it's good that we can speak, and we have to speak. And a man was a gentleman, John was a gentleman, and Elizabeth was nice enough to come on. But again, I mean, at some point, you've got to be able to challenge them. And if you just let them say something, that's fine, but you have to be able to respond, and I think you all should respond too. You're part of this. I just shouldn't be Brian responding. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble here. Let's look at Georgia. Georgia, she's losing by 4%. Arizona, that's too early, so we're not going to worry about it. That's going to be close. So Arizona is going to be very, very close. Michigan, she has a lead. Now again, this is pretty early, and it's only 16% of the vote, but you would certainly rather be up than down. The one in Wisconsin shows Harris ahead by about a point. So like I said, if you look at this logically, it's exactly where we thought we were going to be. And you notice Trump's been quiet because he's had the lead. But when you start seeing Trump, as Veg was mentioning, start saying he's declare himself the winner, that's when he gets nervous. And that's what I am going to predict, that as these things start getting into the wee hours and we go to Pennsylvania and we go to Michigan and he's losing, that's when he's going to go batshit crazy, because then he's going to realize he can't win this thing. Because first of all, he doesn't have a Republican governor in Pennsylvania. He doesn't have a Republican governor in Michigan to play these dirty games like someone like Abbott would. Okay, so yeah, I think we're going to have to wait. Bob Casey is leading in Pennsylvania right now. You want to keep that, but it's kind of close. But I say that if Philadelphia, and I know that Pittsburgh and Erie matter, but when it comes down to it, and I said this in 16, it's going to be Philadelphia that's going to change what's going to happen in this country. It's going to come down to the African American vote in Philadelphia. That's what's going to save us. Because the lines, most of you watching here aren't from Philly. And technically I'm not from Philadelphia, but I'm in the metropolitan area and I understand what goes on. And you should have seen the lines that were at Temple University. There are 5 major universities in the city. The lines were incredible. And that's great because that's in African American areas, which means that he's going to only get Trump will get maybe 10 to 20% at the most, probably more like 11 or 12% of the vote. And that'll be so much of a deficit for him that, even in the redneck areas throughout the state, there will be no chance for them to get close enough to win. And this is why Trump fears Philadelphia. And this is why the last stop was Kamala. She had to go to Philadelphia. She went to the Rocky statue. And that's going to make the difference. So I know we're all worried because of 2016. And we're thinking that, like you had this feel like, oh, it's going to go and break this way. No, not this time. Not this time. And I say this because, number one, even in 16, we won the popular vote. But people weren't serious enough in that election from the Democratic side to push her over. And I'm talking about Hillary. This time, it's going to be the African American vote, and they're going to push Pennsylvania over. Trump is going to lose Pennsylvania. I could be wrong, but I think that. Now, whatever happens in Michigan, I don't know. I think that there's enough votes from the Arab population who will come to their senses and vote for Harris. I think that will be just enough in Detroit to take it. So if I'm right, and I'm just a layman here, okay? I know more about hockey than I do about politics. But if I'm right, you get those 2 states. Let's suppose I'm going to assume that she's going to lose Georgia. I have a feeling she'll lose Georgia. But if she can take Pennsylvania, Michigan, maybe Wisconsin, I think she's got it. I think it'll be very, very close. And then she gets the 1 vote from Nebraska, Omaha. We could have a 1 vote win, and it would. Stranger things have happened. So who knows? But we're going to have to hold tight. Now it's 10 o'clock right now. Unfortunately, this isn't like the 1960s where you pretty much knew by this time who had won, even with the Kennedy-Nixon thing, you kind of knew. Now, of course, Trump's not going to give in. It's not his nature. But as Pennsylvania goes is the election. And this is where Dave mentioned that with Walz being the correct candidate. I hope Walz was the right candidate because you needed to win Pennsylvania. It's after the fact right now, but I think there'll be enough. And I think, again, what's going to save us is the African American vote. That's going to save us. And it's going to keep coming in, and it's going to be enough. It's going to be enough. New Jersey will be closer than we'd like, but we should win. Dave said that Virginia should go blue. I'm thinking I would agree with him, although we can't guarantee it. But if Virginia goes blue, Pennsylvania goes blue, Michigan goes blue, and maybe Wisconsin, that's it. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. So, yeah, we see that Andy Kim won. Andy Kim is from my alma mater, Cherry Hill East. That's a high school right outside of Philadelphia in New Jersey. So it's nice to see Andy doing really, really well there. Let's see if I can move this over. I'm trying to look myself at some of the the results here. I will post some of these for you. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, this is so far again, and California hasn't come in yet. Once California comes in, you're gonna just feel better. You know, like you're gonna get your 25 points from somebody that night. All right, so let's do what we got to do here. So the opacity's up. Okay, so here we go. Trump has 172. She has 81. But again, that's going to change once you get Delaware coming in and a few other of these states. What else do we have here? Yeah, Wisconsin. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Again, folks, you know it, I know it. It's coming down to these to 7 states. If he wins Michigan and Pennsylvania, I think we get this, mainly because there's enough with the Electoral College that we get in, and I think in the end she's going to win the popular vote again. I don't know if she's going to hit 7 million like Biden as a difference, but I would bet that it's going to be at least 4 or 5 million. You know, again, I'm making a lot of predictions here, but you know what? I feel I'm kind of right. Just like I felt I was right about the Federal Reserve. I mean, I was there many times. I know some people there at the Philadelphia Federal Reserve, and I think I have a basic knowledge of how money's created and destroyed. And what you heard there was complete bullshit. That is the kind of stuff you would hear on Alex Jones about the Federal Reserve just printing money. And then they try to backtrack on whatever because they know they're wrong. It's not the way it works. Okay, if you want to get mad, then you just get mad at the banks. But that's what drives America. Credit drives America. If you did not have credit, the economy would be gone. So the fact that we don't pay all our bills is not such a great thing. As long as the inflation rate is very low, our government can have debt spending because it's this good investment. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like taking a home equity loan if the inflation rate's 1%. So what's the big deal? You use their money and you'll pay 1% or 2%. So it's not that bad. And like I say, there is something good about inflation because there are people who hoard money. Even the people you saw there, who knows what's in their bank account? It's not my business, but I'll bet you they're doing quite well over the last 4 years. In fact, I'll bet you they've done better in the last 4 years than under Trump. And one of the reasons, again, you like to have a little bit of inflation. I'm not talking a lot of inflation, but when you at 2.4%, which it is right now, that forces you to spend a little bit because you are losing money by holding your money. So you actually want a little bit of inflation. So it's actually that 2.4% is really good. So the question is that Dave should have asked Elizabeth is that yes, the grocery prices have been exorbitant. But why is it that everything else, including fuel costs, which are down, and costs in general in the economy have gone down, and the inflation rate's very, very low? Why is it that at the grocery store they're higher? And there's really only one reason for that. Profits. Profits. And the worst part is they're blaming us. They're blaming Kamala Harris. Has nothing to do with her. Somebody fumbles. It's not the assistant coach's fault that the person fumbled. And you have to understand what's going on with inflation. And that's why I didn't want to leave that conversation. Because he made a lot of comments and we just left it. Did you hear what he just said about the Federal Reserve? Did you hear what he just said about some of the other things in the economy? With debt. I mean, part of it was kind of true. It kind of sounded good because he did kind of get it right because of the petrodollars. I mean, they have to pay for oil in dollars. And that's true. But he's talking about printing money. You don't even need to print money. Most of you watching me right now spend more money using your credit cards and your debit cards than you do in cash. So it doesn't matter as long as the vendor accepts the digital money. You're not printing money. And when you pay it off in digits. And I think people need a lesson in economics. And this is why I had to interrupt. And I got upset with Dave. Because that needed to be addressed. And okay, if he doesn't want to accept what I'm saying, well, that's fine. But I'm putting the heat on. I mean, if you're going to say something, you have to defend it. And to me, they were not telling the truth. And that whole thing about January 6th, it made it like it was some holiday cruise. And then blaming the FBI? Do you see those fucking crowds just attacking the police? Bear spray hitting them with a fire hydrant? 5 of them are dead. 4 took their lives because it was so traumatic. They weren't armed. They were armed. Some of them had in their backpacks. I don't care how you die. You get hit with a lamp. It's the same thing. In fact, in some ways, it's worse. You know, we get some news here from Veg. Hundreds of thousands of votes in Nevada challenge over signatures. And there we go again. You know, Nevada's going to be close. So that sounds very Trumpian, right? We don't like the way you cross your T here, but in your initial signature, you did. So they're going to try to eliminate these votes. Okay, saying this isn't that person saying. This is the Republican Party. That is not coming from the Democratic Party. Because Nevada is pretty close. It was slightly in Trump's favor. But this idea that somehow we can let some asshole look at the 2 signatures and say, oh, I don't like that signature. It doesn't count. You have to speak up, folks. And you can't let people get away with that kind of shit. And if I say some bullshit, hold me accountable. If I'm wrong about the Federal Reserve, which I'm not, hold me accountable. But if you're just trying to have a show where you're saying you're interviewing somebody, that's fine. But you have to address what people say. And like I said, and that is the truth, 70% of our economy is generated by the blue states. So they can talk all they want about us. But we're the one driving the train. And that's something they'll have to remember. We drive the train when it comes to the money, the production. They're the caboose that we're pulling. They're holding us back, the red states. Have you ever heard it? Why? It was so beautiful going through West Virginia and Virginia and Wyoming. The roads were so good. They have no potholes. You know why? Because states like that get a lot more money from the federal government than they pay in. And states like us, again, we're driving the train, but they're holding us back. We don't get our fair share. And that's why we've got the potholes. We have millions of more people on the roads. Thank you, Veg. One person believes me. One. I think I'm right. In fact, I want to say that I know I'm right, but thank you, Veg. One person. Thank you. All right. So I'm sorry for blowing up. I'm sure Dave's pissed off. And Dave certainly could have handled it himself. He could have argued with that guy. I don't know that, with Dave with the economics, I know his sons obviously would be able to do it, but I had a lot to say with what he said, because what he was saying, he's got to be challenged. In a certain sense, humiliated. Because you could see, if you run back this recording of this show and look at Elizabeth, when I asked her to get specific, how her composure changed. Now, she did answer, to her credit. But just saying everything's going up is not really the correct answer. And then when prices go up, they don't always go up because President made this decision. There's a lot of supply and demand going on. But more than that, there's a lot of corruption. And this is where you get the liberal in me, and that is big business. And again, this is, when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll say this again because I think it's that important. When it comes down to it, the Republican mindset, the mentality of the people who, they have their reasons, they look at us from a completely different angle, okay? And this whole idea of conspiracies without facts, just to say that, the FBI is doing this or the Federal Reserve is doing that, they have to be challenged because that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. Because Dave and I will challenge a Democrat. But again, what I'm trying to get at is the Republican mentality is I hate Big Brother. They don't like the intrusiveness of the government, thinking the government's spying on them. But God damn it, when they go on Facebook, they'll tell every goddamn thing about themselves on the book. What they bought, who they laid, whatever. They'll Google all kinds of shit about themselves. That's stored by Google. Google knows a hell of a lot more than the government does about you and me. So things have changed. It was never Big Brother. It was Big Brother business. And this is coming from a business teacher. I don't mind businesses that are, run a fair game. But when you try to rape us at the grocery stores, and these people on the other side, they can't understand that because they're so angry at us. It's like the person who's angry at his neighbor because the neighbor's successful. I'm sorry, they're successful. You don't like the fact that he's a good heart surgeon? Do your own fucking heart surgery. Or ask me. Give me $15,000, I'll get my screwdriver out. So I think if you look and listen again, it's not tonight, of course, but what was said was nothing different from the Republicans. And yet they have it in them that they're correct because there's a sense of correctness in it. It just weaves in and out of facts and falsities. Because you know what's going to happen? The next level, they're going to blame all the blacks, the minorities for everything. And the minorities are doing all the work. That's why I did what I did. You're right, Veg. And you know what? Quite frankly, Veg, I know I can have a conversation with you with this. Quite frankly, it's not a comfortable thing to have to challenge somebody. And in a polite way, which I hope that I did. It might have sounded passive aggressive, but I responded politely. Maybe it was a little bit of intensity, but I had to do it because that's part of the show. It's nice that we have these people on, but we have a goal here. We're trying to communicate truth. So I don't want to keep slapping people on the back because, we can have any Pollyanna jackass on here and, everything's all fine. But that doesn't work in the real world. People have to be confronted because they will not change unless you confront them. Let's go to some more comments. Yes, bullshit always needs to be fact checked. Here. I remember inflation in the 70s. I mean, people were getting, in the United States, people were getting, buying bonds with 22% rates, and the banks were trying to buy them back from people because they were losing so much money on it. Yeah, that was incredibly high, the inflation. It was not under control. The inflation is generally under control. This economy is a good economy. In fact, it's the best in the world right now. And I would wager that those two people that Dave interviewed, again, are doing really, really well these past 4 years compared to the Trump years. And if they aren't, so be it. But for most people, you're better off. Your health is better off. The health of the planet's better off with Biden than it is for Trump. And we didn't even discuss climate change. I was waiting for Dave to say something about climate change. Yeah. All right, Veg. Sick and tired of people saying the private sector is more efficient. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to go with that eventually, Veg. That's where I was going to get to. That, we put these people in business on a pedestal, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, Elon Musk. Oh shit, Jeff Bezos. Oh shit, Elon Musk. Donald Trump. Somehow we look at people's digits and say, look how rich he is. So he's got a yacht. So all those resources are being spent on things like yachts. And remember, there's something called scarcity. Okay, there are scarce resources on the planet. And when one person has a yacht, and they say, oh, you're generating jobs. What kind of jobs are that? So somebody makes, gold-plated curtains or something. The real jobs, the ones that create resources for the people and have a better society, which is what you want. Yeah, and that's right. I mean, I think that's the thing. A lot of people wish, and even in Canada, whose economy is better than most economies around the world. And by the way, Canada is going through some shit now with Russia, because Canada is going to be giving Ukraine some rockets, and I think they did a smart thing. Russia and Canada are not going to be getting along here. But for a small country, not geographically, Canada will do the right thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that we are the talk of the town, our economy. And if two people there are telling you that things are that bad, well, they didn't look that bad, did they? No, I think there's something more, and I think there's a certain greed to it, and I think that they we've talked about this, that they've gotten through to the goo, and the propaganda machine has gotten through, and people in general, and I'm going to pick on the South because generally that's where it's coming from, white Southerners, they have hundreds of years of this kind of thinking. Slavery was good. Or it wasn't about slavery, the war. It was about how money was printed. Trade. And states' rights for trade. Bullshit. Bullshit. So, let's take a peek, shall we? Okay. 10:27. We should have some more news, right? Some of you, I'm sure, are following this. Okay, Battleground's too early to call. That's, as I was saying, everything is pretty much the way it should be. Again, we should look at the presidency. I mean, yes, it doesn't look like we're going to get the House. I mean, the House or the Senate, but we need to have the presidency because he can veto shit. They're not going to give us anything, but at least we're not going to have Trump. So, any more calls here coming up? Let's see if we can get some more here. That's a little bit of good news. Tammy Baldwin's up for the Senate in Wisconsin, which kind of bodes well for Harris in Wisconsin, I would think. Don't you think, folks? That if she wins Wisconsin by 4 percentage points, then I think Harris can win by 1 or 2. I mean, you can see the logic here, right? Let's go. I hope Dan McCormick doesn't win, though. That's kind of frightening. North Carolina doesn't look good right now because she's down by almost 3 points, and I don't know how you can make that up with 20% left to go or 30%. I don't think you can do it. Ohio is lost, but we knew that. Georgia is 3 points away with 14 left, so let's be honest with ourselves. It looks like we're going to lose Georgia unless somehow some of these votes from DeKalb County or whatever from outside of Atlanta come in and go on her side, and which kind of happened last time too, if you remember that. Same thing with Philadelphia. So we can't completely write off Georgia, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, especially when you have a Republican governor there. Nevada, well, that's going to be crazy. Arizona's going to be close. Trump is almost in a virtual tie there with half of it. So Arizona might go for Trump. It might go for the Democrat. It'd be just kind of an insurance thing. But again, what are we looking for? Michigan, Pennsylvania, and it'd be nice to get Wisconsin. Forget about Ohio. It's not going to happen. Georgia, it would be nice. Doesn't look like it. But again, if we get Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, she's going to win. Not by much, but she's going to win. And again, all that matters is whether you win by 1 or you win by 30. That's it. All right, see what else is going on. Michigan. Okay, the Democrat is up in the Senate. That's always good. It's close, but that bodes well for Harris. Wisconsin, the Democrats up. That bodes. So again, the blue wall. That's what I keep talking about, folks. I don't know what they're talking about online and on the television there. Bella, there is someone pretending to be Melania Trump. Don't look at her at all. Okay. I'm just kind of sick of Melania Trump. If he loses, I think she gets rid of him. Dave McCormick is up. That's kind of scary, but that's only 55% of the vote. North Carolina, we're a little bit over 2.5% down with 83. It doesn't look good there. Again, we're only concerned about Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Ohio, it's a shame. Sherrod Brown's much better than the candidate running for the Republicans, but he's probably not going to win. Georgia is going to be tough. There's only 14% left there. Okay, so we've got to get Pennsylvania. This is going to be tough, folks. I still think it's going to happen. What say you? Okay. I understand the South long before I'd ever heard of. Judge. Fact check that. Georgia will be a major challenge state. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see with Georgia. Yeah, who knows what's going on there? Wow, that's close in Arizona. Yeah, this is going to go to 3 in the morning. And of course, as Veg says, Trump's going to pull his shit because once he loses Pennsylvania, he's going to start harping on the fact that there's bullshit going on in Philadelphia and all that kind of crap. Wisconsin, she's down and half the vote's in. Let's hope the city vote can take her over. I'm telling you, this is getting to the point where, I'm wondering if that one vote from Nebraska from the Electoral College will matter. Where she'll win with 270 to 269. That's, and then of course they'll challenge it in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will try to undo that, and that's where I could see the problem. If you want to see a real problem, folks, let's suppose it's 269, and you get the blue dot in Nebraska. She gets it. She has 270. And now they take it to the Supreme Court. Now, you and I know both that they can't. I mean, they've been trying to challenge it already, and they didn't get through it. But given the Supreme Court the way it is, to play that bullshit at 269, and then taking that one vote and giving it to Trump when Harris wins it. See, they like the Electoral College when it helps them out, right? The Republicans. They certainly don't like it when it hurts them. And that's that one vote that's, yeah. Yeah, sort of. It certainly looks like Alabama here. South Jersey will not go for Harris, but there's enough of people like Gary and myself who vote for Harris who will help push the state go over. Because if it was all Republican and the South completely Republican, then it would be a really tight race in New Jersey. Because the metropolitan area of New York in New Jersey wins that state. So our vote does count in South Jersey, even though we may only be 35% that vote for Harris. It matters. It does matter, and they know that. That's why I vote. Primary, I might not vote for that. All right, let's go back and see what's happening. Any new news, as they say on the Heights or whatever it is. Gallego is leading. That's good news. Ruben Gallego in Arizona. Michigan, Slotkin's. See, this is the thing is, you see what's going on in Michigan where, the Democratic candidates are winning. So you hope that applies to Harris. And I hope, again, that the Arab vote, or what do you want to call the Palestinian vote in Detroit, will go for her. And here we go, Pennsylvania. Now, Trump's leading in Pennsylvania. But like I said, those lines were really long at Temple University. And just like last time, Trump was ahead in Pennsylvania. And what happened in the end? He lost. Because when those ballots, the mail-in ballots were counted, because don't forget, in Pennsylvania, they can't count the mail-ins until after the polls close. Okay? So that goes through a process. So I still think we're in good shape with Pennsylvania. Even though we're losing right now, I still think we're in good shape. I hope I'm right, but I think we're in good shape. Not in great shape, but again, we just need 270. My only fear then would be the Supreme Court. I think maybe you should all chime in whether you believe the Supreme Court would cause a problem with that. That would be a great question I would have for you. If it came down to the one vote in Nebraska, would the Supreme Court try to put their finger on it and throw out that vote in a challenge after the fact? That gets scary. Because then, this is your big brother Supreme Court. All these things run through my head, because I am a little paranoid, because I do believe the Republicans will cheat in any way they can, and they've shown that. There are, like the Frank Lunds of the world, they're intelligent. They think of ways, they know how to win. They can do it in a logical way, but it's slick. And this is why you hope you have, people out there on our side that can do the same thing. All right, let's take another peek. Right now I'm on CNN. I can switch to MSNBC. There's Tammy Baldwin. She's up by almost 3 percentage points halfway through. Trump is up by 3% in Pennsylvania, but again, we got to wait for that Philadelphia vote to come in, and I'd like to see the numbers in Pennsylvania because, there could be 200,000 votes coming in from Philadelphia that could make the difference, or 300,000, some of which still have to be counted. North Carolina, It's still at 84%, so it doesn't look like she's going to win North Carolina. Ohio, again, is lost. Ohio is lost. And as you know, I lived in Ohio for 4.5 years, and I saw that. Yeah, and Veg, I would agree with you 100%. I would also say that Jeb Bush helped hand the election to his brother. Because if you remember, they called it for Gore. And we're talking after the fact. But that, if you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, if you think about it, that's kind of like the meteor. That's where it started getting really nasty. Because, usually you just let things go and you let them count them and check them out and blah, blah, blah. But you saw what happened with Jeb Bush and what he did to help his brother win. And, Gore tried to be the gentleman about it. Yeah. And there's history. We should have won that one. And that hurt because we lost a lot of people that we could have put on the Supreme Court. Yeah. The Democrats made some mistakes, and I think Gore maybe should have challenged it. Who knows what would have happened? But I don't know. Okay, Slotkin's still ahead with 20. There's only 23% of the vote. Yeah, we're not there, folks. Now Trump has 207, but he still needs a lot more. And Harris is going to get California. She's going to get Washington. Going to get Oregon. That whole West Coast is going to go for her. So it's going to get really close. I still think there is a distinct possibility that we could get to that 269 scenario. I didn't really think of that before that, but right now, that's got me worried. Because I can see where she wins that vote. But what does the Supreme Court do? That's when there's pressure from Roberts and Alito and whatnot. And again, we're jumping ahead. And it may not come to that. You hope it doesn't. So we'll see what happens. Hey, Paul. This election is important not just to stop Trump, but to stop the entire existent and nascent Trump dynasty. Can't say I like the early returns here. I agree with you, Paul. I don't like the early returns either. But again, it seems though the states that really, really matter are still up for grabs. And I don't have a feel from 2016 yet. I don't feel that yet. I think that people knew that this was a real problem, having a Trump presidency, again, so that the people will come out. Yeah. We have to stop him. And you know what we're up against. You saw it right on the show here, because when you saw Elizabeth and you saw John, that's the way they think, and they're going to blame us. They'll blame the government before they'll blame the corporations. And Paul and I used to talk about that on the Reality Report long ago. It's just this worship of corporations. The worship of the rich. I don't know. The popular vote, Trump is up by 5 million, but again, that should be erased once California comes in. And Washington, but mainly California, because California, he'll probably lose by 4 million votes. So we'll see what happens here. All right, let's check the board here and see everything earth-shattering here. Again, I like looking at the Senate races because it gives you a sense of where she will be. Arizona, half the votes in. Michigan, she's up with 26%. I have faith that she'll win that. I think the African-American vote, I think the Arab vote in Detroit might push it over, just like in Philadelphia. We have Wisconsin, Trump is, I need my glasses, folks. I think it says he's up by about 0.5%, but only half. Okay, Gallego's winning. I don't see how Kari Lake can get any votes, but there you go. Slotkin, I'll be right with you, folks. I want to get my glasses. 1 second. And I have to work tomorrow. Not doing any schoolwork tonight. No grading. No. This is too important. All right, let's see if I can do a better job now, folks. All right. All right, Casey's down to that asshole McCormick. That's close. Trump is winning in North Carolina. No change there. 84% of the vote in. That doesn't look good. Any?
It's just not looking good.
I think we're still going to be okay. We're going to win.
How are you feeling that way?
I think that we're going to
Are you
win.
still on?
Yes. Dave and I got an argument, and then he had some Trumpers on it. And I got an argument with the Trumpers, and it would lag and.
So you're still on the show?
Yeah, I'm talking right now on the show. All right, my wife Ronnie, she's not feeling good about it right now. Okay, Montana, forget about that. That's done. Tester's done. Okay, Nevada's going to be a big one. Okay. Okay. This looks a little better. Okay, so Colorado, yeah, she's got Colorado, so that's good news. She's up in New Mexico. Hopefully you can see this. Let me just double check here. Yeah, this will be helpful so you can see here. So that looks good. That looks good. Virginia is looking good. New Jersey, closer than I would like. And there's Jill Stein and Kennedy. The hell with them. Connecticut looks good. So we're doing okay. Delaware, we've got Delaware. Yeah, I say like we say. And look, we're up in Michigan. Trump is slightly up in PA, so that's a little scary. Wisconsin, he is slightly up. That's 55% of the vote. So there will be challenges here, folks, on both sides. So, yeah, look at Robert Kennedy and Jill Stein. So Chase Oliver, the Libertarians will never vote for Democrats. Cornel West, he didn't help us out at all. He's full of shit, too. So, yeah, Jill Stein and Cornel West are obviously doing their best to, get their name out there. And meanwhile, we can lose the whole thing because of them. All right. So there's some good news in this. Like I say, we're going to win California. We're going to win Oregon. We're going to win Washington. We're going to lose Idaho, I would imagine. So we've got to turn. Now, Minnesota's a little bit scary here because that's only 6%. But Minnesota, Walz has got to bring that home. Walz got to bring that home. Hold on, Paul. Let me get to your comments here. Shit. Let's go here. All right. So Paul made a good comment here. Hey, Brian, don't depend on the hour vote in Dearborn. They are pissed with the Dems, and many will vote for Jill Stein. I've been told this directly from an Arab physician. Well, that sucks. I mean, I did hear a couple. It's anecdotal, of course. I did hear of a couple on NPR and on MSNBC saying that they were going to vote Democratic, even though they had to bite their lips on it. And that, we'll see. I don't like Jill Stein. I think she obviously met with Putin years ago, and I think she's, one of those. Okay, we're losing North Carolina and Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, Michigan too, and Wisconsin's too early. Again, it's going to come down to those 3 states: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And the thing we have to bank on, and this won it before for us, is the African American vote. And they're going to save us. I think they're going to save us. And I could be wrong, but let's hope that the votes have to come in are the African American votes that are now being tabulated from the early voting. Because remember, in Pennsylvania, I don't know about Michigan or Wisconsin. Anybody out there, maybe you can do a little fact check on that. But I know that in Pennsylvania, they can't count the ballots until after the polls close. So we'll have to see what happens with some of these votes, especially in Philadelphia. Now, I know a lot of votes in Philadelphia are in already. But like I said, there was good news from the universities in Center City and in Northern Philly. You saw there were just incredibly long lines. And those votes count, and you know where most of those votes are going to go. So it could come down to that one vote in Nebraska. But who knows? Who knows? It's a long night. Hang with me, folks. You got 11 people. That's not that bad, right? Okay. All right. Trump is up in Pennsylvania by 2.8%. Roughly, 120,000 votes. 38% has to come in. We need to know if anybody can check out with Kornacki or with CNN, John, whatever his name is, what counties need to come in for Harris. I mean, I'm dumbfounded because I still can't believe that people would vote for this felon, but it happens. 70% of the people or 80% of the people in Russia support Putin. So this is nothing new. But we need to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. I think that Minnesota should change. You would think that will change over time. When you get the city votes coming in. I can't see Walz. Here's what would be, David said that, Walz was the right choice. Will he have been if they don't win Minnesota? Because you look back to what Gore, when he couldn't win his own state. You need to win those states. I think there's a certain irony that I'm such a negative guy that I'm optimistic. I seem to be the only optimistic person here. Gary says Trump running 4 points better than Philly right now. Hispanic vote, yeah, that's a problem. Maybe abortion, anti-female leader, that kind of thing. Paul, I think Kornacki said the same day votes in Philadelphia will generally favor Trump. Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely. Same day. They like to come out the day of. They do vote. You give Republicans credit. They do vote. Definitely not what I was hoping for. Looking scary. Yeah, it is all scary. But Philly has the long line. Who knows? Maybe those lines are so long, people are still waiting. Because don't forget, you can wait in those lines for 3 hours. So if the polls close at 8, that means by 11, maybe they'll start coming in. So, yeah, I still want to remain optimistic, folks. I think I'm the only one. I know Ronnie is not. I'm really looking at Virginia now, too. I mean, I think Dave so far is right on. She's up by 2% with 23% left, and that's pretty good, considering. Yeah, let me show you what I'm looking at rather than just stare at my face here. All right, so I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. So we really need to look at this. Virginia, okay, she's up by 2% with 77% left. It means he's got to make up 60,000 votes, 70,000 votes, 23% left. If she can hold on and maybe win with 49%, because you have to see Jill Stein has 28,000 there, and whoever Oliver is, nice musical, but not a good candidate. And Cornel West, I don't even know why he was running. Pennsylvania, again, we still have 34% of the vote that needs to come in. The question is, where is it coming in? We know that, and this is what Gary's saying here, is late votes in Philly will definitely decide. Yes, it'll not only decide, it'll decide democracy, if that's what you mean. But that's what happened last time, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Philadelphia came through. It looked like he was going to win Pennsylvania. And then the African-American vote came in. Soul Patrol. Save the day. They're going to save this country. I'll say it again. They're going to save it. The African-American vote is going to save this country. They're going to save it in Detroit, hopefully. They're going to save it in Philly. I mean, it's so ironic, too. Everything democracy started in Philly. Let's hold on to it in Philly. But we'll see. I'm trying to be positive here. All right? Okay. I do want to keep an eye on those Senate races, too. Not so much because of the Senate majority. I think they're going to have that. But we want to just see in terms of where that state goes in terms of the voting. Look how close this is in Arizona. 51%. So this is going to go right down to the wire. We'll have a lot of challenges for that. We know Colorado. It's a shame with Florida. Florida is just a lost cause. No, I'll tell you what, let's switch to MSNBC for a second. I hope you don't mind that. We'll see what's going on there. All right, let's check this out here and see what they have here. Okay. Idaho. Well, I told you, forget Idaho. I mean, all the posse comitatus up there, they're going to vote for Trump. You know that. See if we can't find another here. Okay, let's look at Pennsylvania again. See if we see any movement. If you start seeing it close, and now I'm just going to write this down here. Right now, Trump's got a 2.4% advantage in Pennsylvania. Let's see if that doesn't close in the next 30 minutes. Okay, that's the only thing I can look at. Pennsylvania. Okay, look right in Philadelphia. Now, Harris is at 77, and I guess Biden, you're saying, Gary, it was at 81. Okay, Harris is winning here. Let's see. Philadelphia is 72% in. But now don't forget, Philadelphia has millions of, well, a couple million votes, maybe, a million votes. So with 27% left, that's a lot of votes left. Even though it doesn't seem like a lot. If we have a total of 500,000 votes so far, that means that roughly 25% are still there. So 250,000 votes still have to come through. So of those 250,000 votes, how many are going to be Democratic? So let's not give up, folks. Harris is winning here in Chester County. You have, again, a large African-American population. Yeah. So we're basically looking at what's in here. This is for Harris slightly, only 40% in. So if that holds, there's going to be a lot more votes coming in. Let's look at some of these other ones here. Lancaster, Trump is 55. That's closer than I would have thought. 78% in. In these small places, not a lot out there. He's going to win. Well, that one is going to go for Trump. We know that. These are basically in. They're at 95% here. So, quite frankly, folks, I think things are looking up in Pennsylvania. I'm just looking at what I see right now. Most of those red counties are 95%, for the exception of that one county. So, I think you have to look at Philadelphia, and then you have to, of course, look at Erie and Pittsburgh. Let's look at Pittsburgh, shall we? I feel like I'm being the Karnacki today, and I don't even know what the frick I'm talking about. Okay, so let's look here. Harris is losing. No, she's winning here. I can't see the rest of it, though. Trump has 39, so Harris is winning there. And that's 85%. So that's kind of scary there because there's not a lot left. Harris has 60% of the vote there. But we'll take it. Here's Erie. Trump's losing Erie, by 12% of the vote? Something like that, 13%. All right, 48% of the vote in. So there's 52% there, Paul. So if Erie stays the same, there should be a nice chunk of votes coming in for the Democrats in Erie. Let's look here. This is in Lackawanna, 95% in. I think that's a wash there. Monroe, that's a wash. Anyone could win that one, but that's 91% in. So I still say that, you're looking at Delaware County. Harris has got a big win there, and she is at 40% of the vote in. So there's a lot more votes coming in there. I am going to tell you here, I feel real positive about Pennsylvania. I really do, folks. I don't know what you feel, but I think if there's any chance, it's going to be Pennsylvania. And you see, again, let's go to Michigan. Again, this is not 2016. I believe she lost Michigan. She's up in Michigan by about 5%. Those results are, you got 4 million votes remaining, so that's a lot to deal with. Let's look in some of these counties here. All right. Let's look in Lansing here. Jeez, I can't get this in there. Okay, Harris is it's only 17% in. She holds. It's a lot more votes. A lot more votes in Washtenaw, Wayne County, which is Detroit, part of Detroit. There's a lot more votes coming in there. And Oakland, that's going to hopefully go for Harris. These other ones, that's a little frightening because there's not much in these red ones, so that could be a problem. Michigan could be a problem. Yeah. And then, of course, you got the peninsula. You can forget that. Yeah. Okay, so I think right now Michigan's going to be really close. I think Pennsylvania has a better chance of winning Michigan because I think Philly's going to come through. Let's look at the total board here right now. Okay, it's getting percentage-wise, it's getting closer. So here we go. Kamala with 145. We haven't gone through Oregon. We got California's in. That's going for Harris. I assume we're going to get Washington and Oregon. Again, just like I said, it's going to come down to Pennsylvania and Michigan. Haven't had too many comments of late, folks. We can use. Good, Paul. I like that. It's positive there. Your passport's ready. Kornacki, here's Kornacki, said the Democrat goal is 470,000 votes in Philadelphia. That would likely win the state. Let's hope that does it. Yeah, not so quick, Veg. Not so quick. Yes. Shattered nerves. And he's Canadian and he can't take it. Washington is Ann Arbor. Okay, well, Ann Arbor, we'll take that because that's kind of, city-ish, right? So hopefully the university there will. Oh God, my knee is killing me. Oh, for Christ's sake, too much guitar the last week. That footstool just gets to me. All right, let's go back to the opacity. It's 0. All right. So while everybody's down, we knew this wasn't going to be easy. A little bit harder than we thought, but we're going to get Washington. We're going to get Oregon. It looks like Virginia's doing well. North Carolina. Let's go back there. We're losing North Carolina. I know that. Let's see what's going on there. All right. North Carolina. Okay, she's down by what? 2.9%, 85. Well, it hasn't really changed much. We got to look at these counties that are blue in North Carolina. Shall we? Raleigh. Let's look. All right, 82% of the vote in. There are some votes to be had there. Durham. Oh, for God's sakes. Come on, Weinstein. Get this shit together. Where is... Did I just lose everything? Oh, here we go. All right. So in Durham County, she's up. We have to really look and see, how much is left. And this is something Kondracki does really, really well. I'm not Kondracki, folks, but I'm trying. All right. All right. Check how many votes Kamala has in Philly now. Got to see if she can meet that. Okay, I'll do that, Paul. All right. Let's go to Pennsylvania. All right. Hopefully you can see this. Okay. Okay, she has 394,000 votes in Philadelphia. And the question is, how much of it is tabulated? 78 has 12% left. So if this continues and she gets that, let's see, there's 500,000 votes, so 12% of 500,000. We're talking 60,000 votes. 60,000 votes, and she needs, if she continues at 78%, times what? 60,000? %. Or hold it, 0.70%. So let's clear that. Clear 0.77 times 60,000. That'd be 46,000 votes. That would put her exactly at 440,000 votes. And he said, Kondracki said 470. But he's talking about all Pennsylvania. So if you start adding in Delaware County, which doesn't have this 81% in, and she continues at a 60% clip, she'll get those votes. I think she's going to. I think sooner or later they're going to call Pennsylvania. Not now, but they're going to call Pennsylvania for Harris. All right, so let me. I gotta see our screen. I don't even know where I am right now. Okay, hold on. I have to apologize, folks. I'm really trying here. I really need Dave here, but we had quite a bit of a problem with each other, and the guy that was two Republicans. I had a problem with them, so just what happens. Okay, I'm not into that right now. There's a hurricane. Yeah, the Philly votes are going to go 80% her way and 20% for Trump. So, yeah, so and I put it down at 68% on that one. Again, there's that one county I'm worried about in Western Pennsylvania that none of the votes. So he's going to pick up like 30,000 votes there. He's going to. I think it's going to be just like last time. I think Pennsylvania's going to be won by 10,000 votes, and of course Trump's going to be pissed because he knows he needs Pennsylvania. But it's going to be a long night, folks. Hang in there. Can't be fair weather. I know it's stressful, but this is not 2016. Okay? We just have to keep an eye on. Really, look, if you want to get yourself together in this, you got to think 3 states, right? It all comes down to 3 states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Maybe Minnesota gets its act together. I assume she's going to win Minnesota. I would hate to think that Walz couldn't bring Minnesota, because then Walz would have been the wrong choice. Because right now, those industrial states are still kind of leading Trump right now, except for Michigan, but we'll see. I mean, Walz has just got to bring Minnesota in, so we don't have to worry about that one vote in Nebraska. Yeah, well, that's what he did last time. He's an asshole, Paul. And you know that. And that's what they're doing. They hate Philadelphia. And that's a good sign, too, folks, because I think they know more than anybody the way this thing's going to go. How nervous they get is an indication of the way they think this is going. I think you can find out a lot from Republicans right now by the way they are getting nervous. So they're getting nervous now. And they should be. If I were a Republican, I would be really nervous. So they're going to accuse everything about Philadelphia. But it's too bad, because we've got a Democratic governor, and you need that. You need that, because a lot of shenanigans can happen. We got a DA that's ready to kick some ass. He even said, "Fuck around, find out." All right, let's go to. I guess I have to go to this one. Let's go state by state. Let's go to Michigan, because I'm only going to deal with 3 states now, folks. I'm sorry. I mean, I would like to see Minnesota go. Okay. I said that Trump was ahead by 2.4 in Pennsylvania, and we'll look to see in a couple minutes, where that is right now. Because if you start to see that thing going down, then I think I'm going to be right. All right. Again, I'd be more concerned with Michigan, even though we're up in Michigan. I'd be more concerned with Michigan. So 32% in, and she's lost a little bit. Okay, we need to go to Detroit here and see what's going on. Let's see here, Wayne County. Now that's Detroit. And look at this. Now this is good news here. You want some good news? Here's some good news. Now, this is NBC News, and some others may be ahead of this. But she has 93% of the vote in Michigan, and only 15.2% of the vote is in. Soul Patrol. I'm telling you, the African-American vote is going to save democracy. If they could just do it in Wisconsin, which is a little bit tougher. Let's go to Wisconsin, shall we? Wisconsin, because Wisconsin's a very rural state. And all right, okay, she's down. Let's go. This is Pennsylvania. So Wisconsin. Let's take a note of this, folks. 62% in, and at this point, he's up by 2.2. Let's go to Matt, because all we really have to do is look at the blue areas, okay? So let's look at Madison, Wisconsin, and he's up in Madison. Hold it, it can't be. Cannot be. It's just my screen is fucked up. Okay, Harris is up in Madison, but that's 92%. So there's not a lot more votes. So let's suppose she ends up with 250,000 there. Oh, that's close. I don't know about that, but she's up there, and there's 21% of it. That's near Madison, so it's still a blue area. She's up big time in Milwaukee, and look at that, folks. That's good news. That's what 54% in, so that means 46% still comes in. Wisconsin is up for grabs. Too close to call. And right now, you see the movement there. We are now at 2% instead of 2.2. Okay, with what percent in? They don't say. You don't say. You don't say. All right, but it is getting closer. So you've got to wait for the cities. You have to wait for the African American votes. And I'll bet you that's where the longest lines are too. Let's check Minnesota, because Walz better have won Minnesota. I'm telling you. He, if anything, just get Minnesota. Okay? Insurance card. Okay. 14% in, but let's really look where it matters. St. Paul. That's where it matters. That's where it matters. So let's hope the vote's low in St. Paul. Okay. St. Paul, 0.5% in. So, touchdown. Wait till the African American votes come in from St. Paul. Isn't that where Prince is from? And here's another one. Near St. Paul, only 0.5% in. Now this one's Stevens County. Now this one's too close, so it's Democratic. That could go either way, but it all comes down to St. Paul. Okay? And let's see, there's what, 3,500 votes there, and if that's 0.5%, if it was 1%, you see 300,000 votes. So we're talking, in the end, there's going to be 600,000 votes in Minnesota. And when you total them up. So essentially the votes aren't in. So here we go, folks. Give you some positivity. Negatives are out there. Yes, Trump's going to challenge all this shit. But that's a good sign. That's a good sign because he knows something. And then, of course, the challenge will come, even for that one vote in Nebraska, which worries me because I think the Supreme Court would do in Harris. But let's not talk about that one vote. We're talking about Michigan and Pennsylvania. You win that, and then you win Minnesota. If you win Virginia, there is a path to victory for Harris tonight. A definite path. And not because you'll remember that, you know, in 16, Trump had a path to victory, and he won them all. He was winning Pennsylvania, Ohio, you know, he won Virginia. So this is not the same thing. And I think we all have to pause. And just like 2020, we have to wait for the votes to come in. You have to wait for the votes to come in. And I say, the more nervous Trump gets, the more things, accusations that fly, the better it is. Because we know that he's scared. I need more comments, folks. I need more comments. It feeds my brain. Here we go. All right, so as Paul had said, the Republicans are saying that Trump already called for an investigation. Washington's electoral votes for Harris. Oh, that's good. See, it's getting closer. This is where we need to be. And don't forget, we've got Washington and Oregon. Yeah, Soul Patrol. It's always Paul and I knew that about the Soul Patrol. You know, we always knew the Soul Patrol is for the win. It's saved my ability to function in society. You know, that I didn't have to deal with Trump for 4 years in terms of being president. You know, and I know it because they saved us, and they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. So Paul says Madison County is huge, and that's going to work. Yeah, well, this is, and Paul can tell you. You know, when I was in Wood County, Ohio, Paul, do you still live in Wood County in Toledo? I don't know if that's Wood County or not, but Bowling Green was in Wood County, and Delbert Latta, for at least 30 years in a row, was the congressman. You know, the Republicans always won there, and for the exception of Cleveland, Toledo, and Columbus, it goes Republican. Even I think Cincinnati goes Republican. So Ohio is an extremely conservative state, and it has that farm mentality. It's a weird state because you have this progressive part of the state in Cleveland, and Toledo, and Columbus, and then the rest of it's for shit. And Paul and I dealt with that the whole time, and you and I have had these discussions many times, even in college, Paul, with the way Ohio was. I remember, Paul, you said something to Rick. You said, you get stuck in buttfuck Ohio. You probably don't remember that, but I remember you said that. But it just hit me because there was a specific comment. I thought about it, and I thought, wow, like there is a certain sense that there's a part of Ohio that is just like Alabama. You know, it's like here in South Jersey. Luckily it's in here. It's a smaller, scope than in Ohio. Ohio, you've got just so many farmers, and yeah. Okay, here we go. Trump can hoot and holler only once at specific laws, but that's akin to an NFL officiating group. Yeah, he can complain only once. Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, Lucas, that's it, Lucas. Why did I see that's been away from Ohio for so long? Lucas County, which is right before, of course. Yeah, it's right before you go to Michigan. It goes right over, yeah. So it's Wood County, Lucas County. But Ohio's, it's brutal, and that Ohio will vote for somebody like Vance. Paul, I don't know if you remember. I think they had like Carla LeVay came to Bowling Green to speak. She was the Satanist, and she was talking about what Christians do and this and that. It got to just kind of the discussion that that they're no worse than the Christians because the Christians did this and they killed blah blah blah. So why are you mad at the Satanists? But I did get a glimpse of the anger, and this was just one person up there speaking, and they tried to tear her apart. But when I saw that, it got ugly. And of course, I'm not a Satanist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the devil. But from that, I do remember this was, I think, 1979, and I saw that mentality from the red part of Ohio that it just as well been the South. It's yeah. I don't know how you do it, Paul. You're lucky you live in Toledo. You're close enough to Detroit and you're more liberal to the city. But there's not enough votes in Toledo and Cleveland and Columbus to put the Democrat over. It would have to be, I don't know. You have to have like Hitler running against. Well, we certainly do. We sort of have Hitler running against Kamala Harris anyway, So I know a lot of Republicans won't like that, but he is a fascist. So, yeah. All right, let's go back to the board, shall we? Now, we were looking at Pennsylvania with 62% of the vote in. Let's go to Pennsylvania again and see what's happened. Let's go and see. Now we were at 2.2. Now we're at 77, and he's up. Oh shit! That's 2.2. That's 3.4. So he has gained ground on Harris. Okay, well, let's look at Philly and see what's going on here. McCormick's up too. That's frightening. All right. That's for the Senate. I don't want the Senate. Okay, she's down by 5 million. We got Oregon, okay. I got to get to Philadelphia here. All right, that's 2.2. It's 3.4. 77% in. Philadelphia. Okay, now again, this is pretty much what we said. He's at 418. She's at 418. So we got to trust the numbers here. At 418, you still have 32% of the vote out there. She's going to get to 440. It'd be nice if she'd hit 81%. Let's look at Erie. Half the votes are in. She's still up. Lackawanna, that's done. She's going to win Lackawanna. Oh, Christ. This one is a virtual tie in Monroe. She may win it, but it won't matter. It's just basically a tie. Lehigh, she's going to win. Bucks County. Harris is slightly up. This is the one where you had a lot of Republicans there in Bucks County, but she's winning. But I think Biden had more than this percentage. So that's a little bit worrisome. Montgomery County, she's holding. She's doing well, and there's a lot to go there. So there's still a lot to go, folks. So please don't assume. Even though I don't like that 3.4%, I'm going to guess that most of that is because these are almost like 95 to 100% in. 95. So he's not going to get a lot more votes. A little bit here. 95. He's going to get more votes there. 98 here. That's 80. He's got some more coming in. But not a lot of people live in these places. So it's going to be close. Harris is, I sure are winning here. So I still think there's enough in Philadelphia to do it, folks. I still think there's enough. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Paul. Yeah, she's going to need that 77% to hold. Okay, rural Ohio is full of MAGA fucks with their gas-guzzling truck and their assault weaponry. And I'm going to belong to return to the fantasy of 19. Yeah, that's that mentality. You know, Paul, you might have missed it, but I had to deal with two Republicans from Louisiana, and I had to challenge what they were. They said, the one guy said he's sick of the Federal Reserve printing money. That's news to me. Just people have to learn a little bit more about the Federal Reserve. I'm not sure what path she had. She lost Georgia and North Carolina. If she wins PA and PA, which seems like she still needs to win. Yes, I would agree. I would agree. I think she'll win Minnesota because I think Walz will help her win Minnesota. I think she'll win Pennsylvania. Can she win Wisconsin? Dave had said, at least before coming on, he said that let's go to Virginia. That Virginia was going to eventually just go for Harris because of the northern part of Virginia. And I think he's going to be right. I still think she's still up. She's still holding on. Let's look at Richmond, shall we? Tim Kaine's won there, so that's good news in terms of Harris. Richmond, Geez, I can't just get this thing. Okay, look. So Richmond she's up in Henrico County, still 50% of the vote. She should grab a lot more. But let's look at the red states. Let's see if they're at 95%. 92, that's 50. Oof, that's going to be scary. Some of them, well, a lot of them are 99 and 95, but there are some. They're mainly high, so I think Virginia's got a good chance. She's got to keep winning these ones. Okay, 84, that's not good. Okay, that's not going to matter. It's all the big cities, ladies and gentlemen. It's all the big cities. It's going to come down to here because this is where all the people live. You know, you see these geographic maps of the United States that's mainly red, and you would assume that most of the country is red, but it does not account for population. Most people live in, you know, metropolitan areas. Now let's look here. This is near where Dave lives. She's way up, and she's got 14% left there. There's not much left there. There's a lot left here, and she's way up. So Fairfax County, that's 340,000 votes. She's up, you know, with 65% of the vote. Still got 14% left. That's what I'm worried about there. That one, there's only 5% left. She's kicking ass, but, you know, yeah. It's going to come down to the cities. And again, it's going to come down to the African American vote. And I think they're doing it. We just got to keep checking. You know, here we are at 11:30. I should be asleep right now, but I'm not. I'll get my sleep during the weekend, unless, of course, Trump wins. Then that's a problem. Let's go to Pennsylvania again, shall we? We're still at 3.4. I'll let you see, since that's the important. You got to see what I see here. All right, so Trump's up by. This has not been updated. Let's go to CNN and see what they have. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Okay, here we go. So according to this, that's 3.5%. Theirs is slightly different, but still at 77%. Again, I still think Trump is going to lose Pennsylvania by about 10 to 12,000 votes. Georgia is getting closer, 91% in. She is 2.7% down. That doesn't look good. So it looks like she's going to lose Georgia. Mexico is slightly for Harris. Oregon's in. Washington, hard to say. Minnesota has now switched. Okay, Minnesota is now picking up. So just like I said, you know, that will come through over time. Wisconsin. The last time I looked, Trump was up by 2%. Now he's up by 2.6% with 68%. So we'll write that down, 2.6%. All right, New Jersey. I just want to check New Jersey. It's closer than I thought, but 85% in. And I think I want to just look, if you don't mind, folks, where I live. This is a Trump town, but it's closer than we thought. 74% in, and it's 51-48. So my vote counted. Boy, this Cape County. These are the rich Republicans. Camden County is definitely going Harris. It kicked ass. Burlington's going to go for Trump. But then you get up here, right near New York, and bang. Newark, that's for Harris. So that's what's going to win there. Yeah. So we're good there. So let's concentrate, ladies and gentlemen, on Wisconsin now, okay? Don't give up. Please don't give up. It's going to be close. But, you know, she can run the tables too, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? All right. So let me see if I can show you what I see. Wisconsin, 2.6%, 68% in. So we have to look at Milwaukee because that's where we're going to get our bang for the buck. I can't see shit here. Milwaukee. Let's see what she's in. %60 in. Is that 60%? I gotta move this up. Oh, 95% in Milwaukee. That's bad news. But this is good in Iowa County, which is near Madison. Oh, it is Madison. I don't know. Well, anyway, the bottom line is it seems like a Harris County, and only 21% of the votes are counted. Now, again, we haven't been talking about the red counties, but they usually get them in pretty quickly because they do vote in person, the Republicans, as you know. And this one, 93%, is that's basically the way it's going to stand right there. So don't let all this red bother you. What really matters is what's going to happen in these big cities when the votes come in. Okay, so let's not give up. We're not going to have a winner tonight. No way you're going. Yeah, and you know, here's the funny thing, Paul. I am really tired, believe it or not. I may not look it, but I am tired and I feel like going to bed. Yeah, well, you might not want to check out the early part of the show because it got kind of intense. You know. All right, Bella, that's good news. 58%. Are you talking about 58% left, right? Or 58% is in? Not 58% for her? Oh, my. You know what? I have not put my earbuds on all. I didn't need to. Oh, the music's playing in the background. I was just wondering about that. I said I can't hear any music. It's because I have my earbuds in. Silly me. All right. I need that music actually to calm down. All right. Thank you, Bella. In fact, I need help from all of you because, you know, I'm updating these and that's my job. But if you could update me on again, we shouldn't look at any states except for Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and Virginia. I think we've got Minnesota. I'm pretty sure we have Oregon. I know we have Oregon. We need Washington. It looks like we're going to get that. I think she has to win Virginia. She has to win Pennsylvania. All possible. And Wisconsin. So I think it's going to come down to Wisconsin, right? You think? Looks like Pennsylvania, she can win this. You just have to wait it out. Just like last time, because Biden was down too. And then Virginia's holding, you know. All those Northerners that moved down to Northern Virginia, you know, those votes count too. So she can still win. The question is, I don't know how many, I mean, you have to check MSNBC or CNN for the electoral votes for what would happen if it worked out the way I'm saying it. Again, I'm a novice, but I think I'm pretty much on. I have not checked that, Bella. If you can post something, I'm afraid to start searching on here because bad things happen when I start searching. All right, bottom line here, folks. Yeah, I think that you're right, Paul. Kamala might still win this election, but her numbers are definitely below Biden's last election. Her win will be narrow. Yes. But, you know, wouldn't it be great if she just won a narrow victory? Wouldn't that just be burn his ass up? Because then he'd really have something to complain about. But I want them to be angry because they'd be angry anyway. Of course, he's going to say that, you know, if he loses, they cheated. I had this. He's going to declare, like Vig said, he's going to declare victory probably in the next hour. You know, that's the way he is, if he hasn't done it already. LATimes.com. Schiff wins. Well, that's good. Like I said, we lost 2 seats in the Senate. That's ugly. All right. All right, so this is from Bella here. So, okay, so she has 190. Okay, all we know is he's got 230. Steve Garvey, he's another one that's crazy. Should have stuck to baseball. All right. Bomb threats. This is interesting. Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin report bomb threats originating in Russia as America. So they're trying to scare people not going to the polls. And that was happening because Rachel Maddow mentioned that they did that in Georgia. They're trying to scare. And of course, the bomb threats were in the Democratic areas. Fuck that shit. Get there and vote. Now I'm starting to curse because I'm, obviously, I don't like Trump. I don't like where the vote's going right now. But I think I'm going to have a cutoff at 1 o'clock. I think I can kind of tell what's going to happen in some of these states. If I start seeing the progression in Pennsylvania move, where it's, I copied it down. It was at 3.4. It was at 2.2. Then went up to 3.4. Wisconsin's at 2.6. If we start seeing those things go down rapidly, I think we're in shape. Go to Pennsylvania. All right, so 2.3. That's 3.6, so he gained a point. Again, they haven't called it, remember, so that means that they're still waiting for the Philly vote. They're still waiting for the Philly vote. Now that's scary, but you got to let things play out here. That being said, let's take a little break here for a second. Not me, I'm not taking a break, but let's take a break from the numbers. We as progressive thinkers, as Democrats, or whatever you want to call us, liberals, centrist, it seems so absurd that people could vote for this felon. And there's a million reasons why they're going to vote for him. It could be they first of all, a lot of them are racist. They don't like Kamala Harris. They don't like a strong woman. They don't like immigrants. It doesn't bode either way. It doesn't bode well because it shows you the divide in the country and the fact that now we cannot have a conversation with people. Like I tried to do today. I tried to do that, and you saw their reaction. They didn't like it. The barmaid didn't like it when I challenged them. But, she said what she said. I challenged her. But then I got cut off. They walked out as soon as I started talking because they knew I was going to come out with facts. All right, so the one thing I think we can get from this, with the McCormick-Casey race, I think it's important for everybody on this one, the votes remaining. So there's 1.3 million votes remaining. Can you make up 3%? See, Casey's doing better relative to Harris. So I imagine there'd be some Democrats who are conservative are not voting for Harris. But, with 20% of the vote left, there's still enough. Because, if you take that 1.3 million votes and she gets 800,000 of them, and that's a possibility with what Paul was saying with the high 70% in Philadelphia, she could do it. And I'm right because they haven't called it yet. if you looked at these numbers, you would say, wow, like she's going to lose Pennsylvania, but they have not called it yet. She's up to 185. He's at 230. He'll probably win Nevada. She might win Arizona. But again, we're not too concerned about it. They still have Georgia as too close to call. It is getting closer, though. It's at 2.7. Let me just write that down. I still think that's too far away. So NBC has not called Georgia yet. They have not called Georgia yet. Okay. Virginia, they're calling Virginia. That's it. We got Virginia. They're calling Virginia. So we have Virginia. Now we need 2 states. Well, 3. We need Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And where would that put us? We've got to figure out how many. New Jersey has, Pennsylvania has 19 electoral votes, right? Wisconsin has 10. Minnesota has 10. So 19. Michigan has 15. So if she runs the table on the blue wall, and let's suppose she doesn't win New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada, maybe she gets one of those Nebraska votes, but I'm not going to count that right now. That's 54. $185, 54. This puts her at 239. Fuck. She's gonna need another state. She's gonna need Arizona. And she's losing by 0.4%. She may get, let's just say she gets New Mexico. That puts her at 244. Maine has 4, and she is up. Let's hope she gets. It'll be put her at 248. New Hampshire's too close to call. If she gets that, she's at 252. She's not going to win Alaska. Hawaii, it could come down to Hawaii too. Now I'm getting a little scared because the numbers are going to be rough. I'm seeing her at 252. Let's look at it from the Trump angle. God damn it. You know what? Let me put an overlay of me in here, okay? All right, so now you can kind of see me while I do this. I think it's a little bit better. So I keep going for the opaque. God, if he wins. I just want to see the electoral votes for these states out in the Southwest. All right. She might get New Mexico. How many electoral votes is that? I don't know. They don't have the electoral votes here on this one. What is this? This is CNN? All right. Trump may win Nevada. All right, Paul. Thank you. Hi, Judy. Good to see you. Harris has narrowed Trump's popular vote to 4 million. Yeah. Let's hope. Let's just hope that we can still win these states here. You know, it's not over. Well, that can be a problem. I think that was the problem with the Hispanic vote. I don't know if that was necessarily with the. I think that overwhelmingly the African American vote still did the right thing. Problem are the uneducated white voters. They are the big problem. Yeah. Yeah, she has to win Pennsylvania. And I think that she will. But let's see. I digress. All right, so 82%. Okay, let's see what's happened. Now, we said that she was down by 3.4 with 62% of Pennsylvania. It's now 2.4, 3.4, 3.7. We've lost some votes. Let's see where they're coming from, though. Okay. Let's see where they're coming from. Okay, let's look at the red ones. 98%, 95%. Okay, most of the red, except for this county here, McKean. Okay, most of the red counties are in. Let me see. Hopefully you can still see this, folks. We still have to look at Philadelphia. That is the key. Where am I going here? Let me see if I get this. All right. All right, we still have plenty of votes in Philadelphia, folks. And she's at 77. I still think she can get Pennsylvania. She has to win Pennsylvania. You're right, Paul. She's got to win Pennsylvania. She's got to win Pennsylvania. Let's see. Let's look here. Montgomery County, she's up pretty big. How much is left there? 60. So a lot of votes left there too, and quite a few in Chester. Allentown, generally for her, so we're not going to lose it. Harrisburg, she's up, and there's still 34% left. Let's look at Pittsburgh. That's basically in. They did their job. Cambria County, there's a lot left there, but we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I don't trust anything in that part of the state. Scranton, wow, that's closer than we want there, right? Because that's where Joe Biden's from. But she's going to win it because she is at 99%, so she'll win that. But it's a lot closer than I thought. This is the one where nothing's in. I don't know what's going on there. Somebody will have to tell me. Chester, Montgomery. All right, so let's get some of the commentary. All right. It's insane. Commiseration station. Yeah. I guess Trump will be going after me. I'll be the main meal. Okay, let's look at Georgia. Why not? NBC didn't call Georgia yet, so let's check Georgia out. Thanks, Paul. All right. What the hell? Can I get to Georgia here? All right, Georgia. Yeah, that is narrowing. You are correct. 92% in. Let's look and see we got to look at Atlanta, right? All right, 93% in. She's doing well at 72%. If she holds that, there's 7% of the vote. Let me see if I can do a quick calculation. That's 500,000 votes in Atlanta, right? Roughly. A little more. So let's just say 500,000. Okay. So let's just say 0.07 times times 500,000. It's 35,000 votes left. If she gets 71.9 times that, I'll just say 0.7. She'll get 24,000 votes. That'll put her at 404,000 votes in the end. And it was 35, and he'll get 11,000 votes. So he'll get to 153,000 votes. So that's going to be a net plus of like 13,000 votes. That's not going to do it in that one county, of course. There's a lot of people in these counties. So when you say you have 99, that's done. 95, that's almost done. 92, she should kick ass there in Clayton. So she should pick up some votes. She's going to pick up around 60,000 votes. And she should pick up a couple thousand here. I'm talking about plus. And she needs 120,000. This one has a little bit. Okay, I see this other one. Clark. Okay, Augusta. They got 11% left, so she could pick up votes there. And she's got to hold it. And the other ones are 99, 95% in, so she's going to make it closer. I don't know that she can get all of them. I don't know. I think it's important that we just watch Georgia, though, because I still think there's... Remember, Georgia, they did it in the end, too. All right, so she's got... You say she's got 205. Let's look at the map, shall we? Well, this is CNN. So we have to switch to MSNBC, I guess. Yeah, they're not calling Georgia yet. Oregon, we're good. I want to see the national map here. That's what I want to see. President. Okay, now I have her here at 185. What state did Paul did they add there? Was that Oregon or Washington, or is that Virginia? Okay, rare medium. Trump's leading in Wisconsin. If he takes that, all he needs is... Okay, well, let's just hope he doesn't get Wisconsin. Yeah, Jill Stein screwing us up again, and I'm sure Vladimir Putin is really happy about that, too. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just... Yeah. Mexico. Let's see what's going on in Mexico. She's up 83% in. She could win. Oh, New Mexico, I got you. So they probably... Okay, Paul, help us out. We need the path. We need the path. We know it's got to be Michigan and Pennsylvania. And Wisconsin. I think she's going to win Minnesota. If she doesn't win Minnesota, then we got to say Walz wasn't the guy. But, so we'll wait on that. I'll be right back. Paul, everybody please hang on. I just have to go to the lavatory. I haven't gone to the bathroom for like 6 hours. Be right back. Thanks. Oy, oy, oy. All right. I think we can say one thing about the polls. They were generally correct. You know? All right. Here we go. Wins PA, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, New Hampshire, and Arizona. Well, Arizona's going to be tough. I can see him winning PA. Philadelphia comes through. I can see him winning Minnesota. So are we more worried about... I guess we're more worried about Wisconsin than Michigan. Soul Patrol. All right. It's going to be the African-American vote that's going to save us. That's the only thing that can save us. It's what saved us before. And I'm holding on to the belief that that's going to happen again. I mean, it's the only thing that's going to save democracy. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, and New Hampshire. Yeah, I could see her winning New Hampshire because that's near Vermont, and that's doing well. New Hampshire generally can go Republican, but yes, Maine can be conservative. They do have a conservative senator, lunatic. Michigan, okay. I still think she can win. I think we have to wait this thing out. But I think, you get to tomorrow, Trump's going to be angry. He's going to lose by a little bit. I guarantee. I said it's going to be somewhere between 270 and 290 or 300 yesterday, or whenever we had the last Divided We Stand. Now, if Georgia flips somehow. Okay, Harris is down 250K. Still 80%. So it's 13%. She's going to make... Oh, Jesus. That's a lot to make up. I'm just trying to be honest. It's a lot to make up in Pennsylvania. God damn it. And I'm the optimist tonight. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have never felt, and I don't want this to sound racist about people who are white, but I don't understand nonsense that these people believe. It's almost a cruel stupidity. And it angers the hell out of me. Because, I don't care about anybody's color or anything like that. it doesn't register with me. But for people to, like, I think if you look at the beginning of the show, you see when you saw those two people. I let them speak, but that was a classic example. They weren't going to listen, and what did that one woman do? As soon as I, started coming back on her, she turned her back and walked away. I'm sorry. This is our show, lady. I don't say lady, miss, Mrs., whatever. This was our show. You were going to be challenged on here. You came on. We appreciate it. Same with John that came on. But if you're going to talk and you're going to say something and it's wrong, I'm going to hold you to it, just like you would hold me. All right, so comments at 77.2, which is up by 0.1. That's helpful. 8P has called New Mexico for her. Okay, that's good. So, Paul, is that part of the, what'd you say, the 205? I got to favorite that one because 205. Paul, I appreciate this. Really do. All right. Yeah, they really have. And Paul, I don't know if you know this, where I teach, we have a lot of Hispanic students, and they had a mock election. Now, Harris won. But with the seniors, she only won by 13 votes. And I asked one of my good friends who heads the ROTC program at Christian High, I said, why did so many students vote for Trump? And he said, it's because within the Hispanic community, the male figure is the power figure in the family, and they don't like the strong female figure. He didn't even think it was the abortion thing. Either way, it all, acts as darts to the brain, and it molds that final opinion. Like, I'm not going to vote for it. All right, let's go to the AP map. Okay, we'll do that, Paul. I think let's do that. AP electoral map. Okay. Yeah, you are correct. All right, so they're picking her. Arizona is so close. 50% of the votes in, so they don't know, but it is scary. But you know what? She could win that too. She could do exactly what Trump did. Think about this, folks. Before we get all crazy, it is depressing. But in 16, the tide kind of changed in this way against us. Well, maybe the tide can change, with the right things happening at the right moment. When those working people come in to vote, 7 o'clock in the evening, and they wait in lines for 2 hours, those numbers build up. All right, Minnesota, he's starting to build a lead here, or she is. I should say he, because I'm thinking of Walz. All right, so let's look at Wisconsin. I said the last time Wisconsin was at 2.6. Yeah, she's got to make up some votes here, and there's not a lot left. So Wisconsin worries me. I wouldn't, Judy. I see your comment here. I thought we could depend on the white women. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I dealt with it beginning of the show. If you saw it, Judy, what happened? I ran into the wall, Yeah. That's okay. So let's look at North Carolina. I just want to see what happened there. 92% in. Yeah, it's 2.8%. God. I think we have a better chance for Arizona than we do for Nevada. But a lot of things are going to have to happen. Yeah, that's a good map, Paul. I like it. Because it looks more blue than the other one, you know. Look, if I stay up for this, we better win. Last time in 16, I went to sleep angry. I mean, I actually got up at 2 in the morning and I put on the TV and I said, oh, Christ. And I woke my wife up and gave her depression for 4 years after I said he won. Yeah, we do have to get off the ledge. Yeah. That's right. Philly vote still coming in. We got to get a fourth quarter Eagles touchdown. That's what we need. Because they hate Philadelphia. I'm telling you, it wouldn't be just great if that was the difference in the election, Philadelphia. Oh, I would love that. Because it kind of was the same thing in 2020, you know. All right, let's get something different. Yeah. I'm colorblind, folks, so I'm kind of playing with the color here, so don't mind me. I just see stuff here. All right, yeah, this map. I assume they're going to update this. Indian. Yeah, what a crazy ass state. Okay, Pennsylvania. All right, so last time we looked at Pennsylvania, it was 3.7. Now we're down to, oh shit, down 2.9. So we've gained. We have gained in Pennsylvania. All right, let's go to Wisconsin here. Wisconsin, you said 2.9? So that's 2.6. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Folks, we have to go back to Wisconsin and see what's going on in these districts. We've got to go to the cities because it's where it's going to come from, folks. 86% in. Christ, I can't see this. I can't see it. What's going on here? These ads are in my way. That's what's going wrong. All right, 49%. Oh, Chris, I can't see it. Right, 95% in Dane County. That's where Milwaukee is. Boy, she's got to make up some votes there. She's got to make up 90,000 votes. I don't think she can make up 90,000 in Milwaukee alone. Let me see, Madison. 83%. That's Iowa County. Lafayette. Boy, this is looking tough. Milwaukee's the place. 42% left in Milwaukee. And my guess is it's going to be mainly. All right, so let's look at that. Let's just say 40%, right? So how many votes are cast so far? What, 250,000, 260,000. Okay, so 260,000. All right, she's up by 16. 92,000 votes in Milwaukee. And you get 40. So she could gain around 60,000 votes still in Milwaukee if she holds 60,000, and she still has to make up another 30,000. Let's look at this. That's not going to help. Like Green Bay didn't help, did it? It's all Republican. Eau Claire, 95% in. I'm looking for votes, folks. That's not going to do it. That's certainly not going to. Oh, that one might do it. But that's 7% of the votes in, but there are not many votes. My fear is they're going to eventually call Wisconsin for Trump. Oh, Christ. I'm afraid he's going to win, folks. I mean, I know that she's going to pick up a lot of votes. Unless something strange happens in one of these other counties. I don't know. All right, I need to have encouragement, or at least have discussion with you folks here. Nevada may be a stretch. Yeah. I got a lunatic cousin. He's a racist and he's a big Trumper. I don't talk to him. It's been a year and a half. Another large batch of Philly mail-in votes are due to open this morning. They go, yes, that's good. Yeah. Ron Jaworski for the win, right? Yeah. All my from Kornaki's fine. I don't care where we get it, Paul, but Kornaki's fine. If you can, what is she starting to send the alarm bells yet, Paul? I mean, if he does lose Georgia, then all bets are we can win this thing. No, I haven't, Bella. I probably should do. I have DuckDuckGo. I just haven't been using it for this. 94,000 lead. Okay, that's come down a little bit. I mean, no, it's about what I thought. Okay. Right. It doesn't mean anything if she wins Georgia and PA. Yeah, I see him winning, or her winning Pennsylvania. He'll declare that he won Pennsylvania, of course. The Georgia one, that's our best shot. That's our best shot. Let's go to Georgia, shall we? All right. And I'm sure Kornaki's going over all this shit. Okay, let's get to Atlanta here. Okay. Heavily Harris, and you got 11% of the vote left. So you get 10% of what she's got now. At least she might get another, but she's up by 220,000. So she get another 22,000 extra votes there. 7% here. Another 10 or 15,000 there. Now, of course, we're not looking at red counties, but they're usually pretty quick. And by the way, who knows what the hell's been going on in those? I hope that we've had our attorneys in each of those counties. For fuck's sake here. Excuse my language here. Well, that's done. 3. That's not many people living there. So that's not many people. That's not going to matter much. Richmond's in. That's not going to matter too much. That one will matter there. I like that. Chatham County, because there she's up by almost 20,000. She's got plenty of votes left. So that's why they're not calling it. 12% there, she's up. Yeah, don't call Georgia. Don't call Georgia yet. Republicans have the Senate majority. Well, that we kind of expected. We did expect that. You're going to lose, we lost with Tester. And we weren't losing much with, we weren't getting anywhere with West Virginia, Manchin anyway, So even though we had a technical majority, nothing was getting done anyway. And nothing will get done. But you can't let him be president. And that's the difference between Biden and Harris and Trump. Biden and Harris will accept the defeat as much as you and I, and they hate it. They wouldn't plan a coup. There's too much decency in them. And I wouldn't either. Maybe Trump will just have to run the country to the ground if he becomes president again. Oh my God, you said it all, Paul. That would suck. There goes the country, Then people will start moving. You could kiss Ukraine goodbye. Now I'm starting to talk negative here. Let's not. Let's remember what happened in 2024. Now, this is not going to be a Biden victory like we thought it would be, but I'm sure Kondracki knows where the votes are. Because I'm sure he has a staff working behind it. I mean, Kondracki's really smart. He knows his stuff, but I'm sure he has a staff behind him constantly telling him, hey, this is what we have. Numbers, people. We're on our own here, folks. Just you and I. Please feel free to make comments, folks. Tell us what you're thinking. We'll get there. All right, let's see what's going on in AP here. I like AP because you can check out everything like really quickly. AP results, here we go. 2.3% in Georgia, so that's coming down. That's good. 2.3%. Boy, would I love to see him win the popular vote and we win that won't happen. And we win the Electoral College. Then all of a sudden he's not going to like the Electoral College. Yeah, Virginia. Dave's right. Dave's right. We're going to win Virginia. .3%. But she is down a lot in Pennsylvania. You know, that really hurts. She's got to make up a lot. Got to make up a lot, but we still have a shot. Yeah, Ron? Yeah, Ron's probably devastated. And who wouldn't be? Here we are, 12:30. Oh, well, hold it. It's 2.7, 3%. Jeez, we're going downhill. All right, let's go to Michigan. Oh, now he's winning big time in Michigan. But only 52% of the votes counted. See what happened in Texas. We have a lot of people from Texas on our group page on Facebook. Good people. Must be rough living down there. Say one thing, they do come out, don't they? They do come out. Let's check Facebook. I want to see what's going on Facebook. Commentary. Not that it matters, but I'm sure people are just pissed as hell. Okay. Anthony still believes he'll win. That's good. There's something wrong with a lot of everybody, to be honest. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. Let's look at MSN news. See what's going there. Trump wins North Carolina, picks up coveted Southern swing state. I think I'm going to go to bed in about half an hour. I'll give up.
Are they saying anything?
Folks are saying these. I'm not getting news from Paul. Paul's he's right now. They hear me speaking right now. Just so you know, Paul's keeping updating me on what the contract is saying and all that. So, yeah. I mean, she's got a path, but she's got to.
I fell asleep and I just don't know what's not counted.
Well, she still may win Pennsylvania because those votes will come in by the morning.
Ahead.
Yeah, but what was that? He was ahead in 2020. But the problem's going to be Michigan and Wisconsin. She's got to win in Michigan and Wisconsin.
She's got to win all three.
You know.
She's not gonna.
But if she wins Georgia, now Georgia might be better than.
I thought he was gonna win Georgia.
I know, but they've kind of like gone back on it a little bit now. You know. Alan Lichtman stands by the Harris winning. I don't know. I don't know. And Giuliani is not paying up like he's supposed to. Just throw the bastard in jail. Eyewitness video captures 3 inspecting ballot machine malfunction in Pennsylvania. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not getting much from that here, folks. All right. Thank you for staying with us. We're up to 15 folks. Guess everyone on the West Coast is starting to come in. They don't seem to be coming in that quickly, these votes, though. He's still at 2.9 for Pennsylvania. If you remember, Biden had 81 million votes. She has 58 or 59 million votes. He's down too. I mean, of course, we're not done the night. I must admit, I'm a bit depressed. But, you know, got to remain optimistic. All right, we're getting some commentary here, so I'm going to post it here. Kennedy is our health person and Musk is our budget guru. Please wake up from this nightmare. No, this is a real one. Marty, this is a real one. And you know it, and I know it, and everybody else know it. All right, that's good news. Kamala's expected to get... Yeah, Nevada went to sleep. Eat a bunch of sugar. Yeah. Trump is about to speak. Well, he's going to declare himself the winner. That's what he's going to do. Help me with that. With Keith Olbermann. What is Keith saying? He's just mad at people? I mean, he has a way with words. So please tell me, if you can put it in the comment section, please tell me what, basically what Olbermann's saying. Yeah, I remember we did, didn't we? I just remember that. We went to the store to get candy. Jesus Christ, everybody else is getting beer. We're getting candies. Whew. I forgot all that stuff. I do remember the candy runs. Things we did when we were younger, you know? All right. Hope springs eternal. Michigan seems to be moving further away, folks. We did get Virginia, but I don't see anywhere we're close enough. I see Pennsylvania as the shot. But Michigan's looking bad now. Wisconsin's popping. You would have thought, Walz being right next to Wisconsin, that somehow he would have pulled the state through. I could see him winning Arizona by like a half a point. Whew. Okay, I'm going to tell you, folks, I'm going to go another 15 minutes. We'll go another 15 minutes because I have to get up tomorrow for work, and I'm going to be depressed tomorrow. I know that. And yeah. Get ready for fascism, right? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, Paul. But like I said, Trump started running the table about this time in 2016. Let's hope that, again, it's going to come down if there is enough African American vote to undo the rest of the stupidity out there. Maybe we'll win, but I still want to know what Keith Olbermann was saying. If anybody could tell me, I like Keith Olbermann. I like his delivery. She wins Pennsylvania. She's 1 point away from him. I tell you, Georgia got to come through. That's 2.3% to make up. 7% left. That's rough. She's got to start running the table. Yeah, isn't that something? And nobody can figure it out. What a tariff is. Not everything's going to go up. All these assholes that I had to speak to, talking about inflation and prices. Tell your boy to get rid of the tariffs. This country. I just don't see any movement now, folks. Wisconsin's going in the wrong direction. Yeah, well, Russia did do that crap with the bomb threats. I don't care if it's a bomb threat. I'm voting. Goddamn Russia. Always sticking their finger in everything. Yeah, it's just they're voting for a felon. Can you believe that? They're voting for a felon. All right, let's see if I can dig up Keith Olbermann here. Nothing. All right, that's good. I mean, yeah. Yeah, and I believe it, Paul. I think that she does have a chance in Pennsylvania. That gets her to 229. But you have to worry about Wisconsin and Michigan. I think she gets Georgia. She's making a little movement. She went from 2.7 to 2.3. So she's closing in a little bit. 93% of the vote. So she's closing in a little. She's 100 and what? 119,000 down. 118 and change. What's Kondracki saying? Oh, God. %99 in there. Yes, Gary, I'm afraid it is. A little bit left in Henry County. The Calb's got some. That's where a lot of votes are. Fulton County, that's where you're going to get some votes too. Cobb, some. Take anything you can get. Douglas, yes. There's 5% left there. Any place for this hardly Chatham. Yeah, I think that's right, Paul. I think she's going to end up perhaps winning Pennsylvania. But that means she needs to have an upset either in Georgia or she has to run the table with Michigan and Wisconsin. And another thing I completely agree with Paul. I am surprised that she did this poorly. Am I suspicious about something? I don't know. Trump will do anything. I say you got to recount the votes. He got to do it. We should do it 3 times. See, they're giving him 246 here, her 189. They didn't give her New Mexico here. This is NBC. CNN, even less. Really thought we had this, folks. Thought we had it. We still may. I'm just tired as hell. But I think I'm more disappointed than tired. I'm disappointed in my country. And I accept defeat, you know, I can accept defeat. But I can't accept somebody voting for a felon. Can't. So, those of you who are out there, how many of you have a sick feeling in your stomach? I don't know why I'm even laughing. Now, let's look. There still isn't. Look, there still is a possibility. He doesn't have it yet. But all he has to do is win, you know, one of those three, or two of those four. We're done. The Arizona. Oh, for God's sakes. Really close in Arizona, but God, why is it taking so long? He's up 3.6% in Wisconsin. 84% of the vote. I don't know how he's going to make it up, folks. In this sense, Jill Stein didn't, and Cornel West, as much as what they did was lousy, it wouldn't have been enough to make a difference. Not all of them would have voted for anyway. Not Wisconsin. Michigan. That wasn't going to make a difference either. She's down 6.1% in Michigan. 59% of the vote. Yes, some of the polls were spot on. CNN called Georgia for Trump. We're suffering from this angry outcry from Redneck America. And he got so many Latino votes. They are generally conservative, especially with family values. Probably don't like abortion. Yeah. Not just a felon, he's a total common. Yes, he is. I'm with you, Ichabod. I'm with you. Yeah, you said that right, Bella. Family values has killed the planet. You can forget about the polls. They're all going to melt down. Yeah, I'm sick too. GOP governor of Vermont voted for Kamala. Yeah, I heard that. I'm in Deep Blue, Rhode Island. Kamala won by less than 7% than Biden. It doesn't bode well nationally. Jesus. Now, this is going to be a long rest of my life. So CNN's calling Georgia. He's up by 137 votes, 98 in. I can understand why they're calling it. I want to thank everybody here for hanging in there. I mean, I know it's depressing. It's every bit as depressing as 2016. And unless there's a miracle overnight, which is still possible, we're going to have a rough time. I couldn't see him winning because I thought there'd be enough decent Americans that would come out and vote against him. But the inmates are running the asylum. Somebody said something about a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Yeah, I think you're right. We're going to get inflation like crazy. Yeah, I bet it was the white women, though. That's for sure. Spend like a drunken sailor, yeah. Ukraine's done. Well, listen, folks, I do have to get up tomorrow, and I want to say this. Aside from the politics, thank you for watching this, and it didn't start off real well. Maybe I should have known, you know. But I thank you for staying here. We're not wrong. We're not wrong. We're fighting the good fight. And he will, you know, he's going to torture us, but the rest of them are going to suffer too. He doesn't know what he's doing. And one of my cousins, he loves him, and, you know, he gets his Obamacare. He's not going to have it now. So be careful what you wish for, they say, right? All right. Divided We Stand does not end. We continue. And a conservative Supreme Court. Thank you for watching, my comrades. Just when I had faith in human beings, you know, I had faith in you folks. Honestly, I'm not patronizing you. I believe it. You know. This didn't look like she's going to even win the popular vote here in the end. Yeah. Now it's just going to be commiseration because we won't have any control. He's going to steal from the blue states and give to the red. I wouldn't want to be Jack Smith now either, right? He'll put him in a gulag. You said it, Paul. All right. I am going to sign off now. Thank you for watching Divided We Stand. I appreciate it. Paul, thank you. Bella, Marty, Gary, Rare Medium, Ichabod, Judy. I said Gary, Infinity. And those of you who were quiet, Incognito, I appreciate you showing up. Judy, Veg, Rare Medium, yeah, we got hit in the gut tonight, folks. Medicate. See ya.